Come on, man. Oh, there we go. Yo, what is up, folks? It's your boy Sports PSP. Welcome to another episode of the Sports PSP podcast. Hope everyone is enjoying a fantastic Friday. Hope everyone had a marvelous day from work, school, whatever the case may be. Sports PSP podcast is here. Got my crew in the building. Got my man got my boy BRF Sports. How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. Like I was telling y'all before the show, it's been a roller coaster of a week, but I'm gonna save that and talk about it at the end of the show. We got another banger incoming for everybody out there. Shout out to everybody that support us. But hey, we gonna keep the show rolling, as they like to say. So it's always a pleasure to be here with you, PSP. It's always a pleasure to share the stage with you, champ. You know, kind of a prelude to we about to get down tomorrow, so I'm ready to get into it.
Absolutely. And of course, we can't do the show without my guy, Undisputed World Champ. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, it's been a good week, somewhat. Shout out to Columbus, Georgia. Y'all doing good. Shout out to William Rose. We love you, brother. So, man, always a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor to share the stage with both of you, man. Hey, BRF, my brother from the 706, and the New Jersey genius himself, PSP. So, man, look, man, I'm happy to be here, man. Always happy to be here. The highlight of Friday nights.
Absolutely. There's a reason why we keep it popping on this show every Friday nights. Before we talk about the NFL, y'all, of course, basketball season arrived a few days ago. It's going to be tough for all of us because this will be the final time inside the NBA with Ernie Johnson, Kenny the Jet Smith, Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley. The Boston Celtics started with the season opener against the New York Knicks. Jason Tatum went off, almost could have broken the 3-point record. And then the Los Angeles Lakers against the Minnesota Timberwolves. It was a great moment seeing LeBron James, Bronny James out on the court together, the first father and son in an NBA game. It was also great that we saw the Griffeys, Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. But man, Anthony Davis, boy, he was a man amongst boys that game, man. And this is one of the reasons why he's an exceptional talent, why he was the consensus choice for being the number one overall pick, why he was a can't miss guy coming out of Kentucky. Champ, I'm going to let you go first because you are the Laker guy. Even though you from Columbus, Georgia, you love yourself some Lakers. What were your thoughts about the Lakers' performance against the Minnesota Timberwolves and the NBA season so far in general?
Man, I'm loving it, man. I feel like, look, let's just give credit where credit is due. The WNBA season, it was like a build-up to this right here. Because as that was phasing out, they was advertising the NBA. So it was just like we got a chance to ease out of the WNBA season, and we got a chance to just ease into it. So that was impeccable, man. I am so happy that we are back. As far as my Lakers go, man, look, I'm excited to see that. But I'm like, you know what? Let me wait. Because I want to see if you can do that and sustain that throughout the season. Kind of like something my father used to say. Anybody can do it when it don't count. This is garbage time. I understand it's the first game of the season. Everybody's excited. But it's kind of like the first day of school and you making an A on a pop quiz. Everybody's excited to see that first one. I want to see what this team is going to do in the middle of the season. How's Anthony Davis going to step up? How's he going to do every single thing that he can in order for him to be an MVP candidate that we know he can be? Is he going to take LeBron James's place on that team as the undisputed leader on that team, which we know he can? Is he going to be the MVP this year? That would be my expectations for him.
NDPOY.
Yes. And that will be my expectations for him. Because the thing is, this is not one of those run-of-the-mill guys. When Anthony Davis is healthy, excuse me for saying this, he is deadly. It's a deadly game with Anthony Davis. But I want to see him. This is not going to be LeBron's team for very long. He may have 1, maybe 2 years. I want to see Anthony Davis take charge of this team and be that player that we want, that we need him to be. I'm excited to see that, but I want to see some more of that throughout the season. I want to see how far you going to step up, especially with some of these injuries. You know, the Clippers are out of it right about now. I mean, you know, it's wide open a little bit, you know, especially for the, you know, the second half for a lot of teams. You know, Kawhi's out, you know, a lot of players are out right about now to start the season. So let's see how great you're going to put yourself in position at this point in time. I'm excited, but I want to see you do that. I want to see you do that on more than just one test. I want to see how you're going to sustain that throughout the season. What have you been doing there? I want to see the work of your off season and how it's going to translate into these. But I'm excited, man. That was a good game. You came out and look how fitting on opening night. Jeannie Buss and the owners of that team gave away Jerry West jerseys. Big ups to you. Big ups
Excellent.
to you. You just can't do it much better than that, man. But hey, I'm excited to see it, but I want to see more of it. Anthony Davis, big up. You had a good game, but let's see if you can finally take that next step and be that MVP. Let's see if that year you had last year where you played 78 games, was that a prelude to this year where you have your biggest year yet?
BRF.
Well, here's a nice little elephant in the room we're talking about, huh? Because I'm going to just go ahead and say it. Anthony Davis is already the best player on this team. He already is. I mean, I know they still got LeBron and he's still doing his thing. Anthony Davis is already the best player on this team. Because, I mean, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of how they've performed when LeBron's on the court and AD's not on the court. Not as good. Even with the LeBron James, they haven't been as good. I will say this, though. The depth, looking at that game against Minnesota, seems to be the depth is a little more impactful this year. You know, particularly Dalton Connect, I feel like has a shot as a rookie to immediately come in and be like the sixth man on this team. His ability to shoot, his ability to create shots, he's already got it. And I feel like he's got a shot to really do something that's stepping up as a rookie. But Anthony Davis is him. I mean, let's just keep it a buck. He's already the best player on this team. I feel like this offense needs to be ran through him. I think what my main thing is even the LeBron is still LeBron. I mean, let's face it, he's still gonna get his. And it's astonishing at 38, 39 years old, what this man is still capable of doing. The man is still capable of putting up his
40
numbers.
in December.
40 in December. And the fact that he still looks the way he looked and plays the way he played, I mean, it's astonishing, and it's just a testament to the work he put into his body and just his work ethic, period. It's just a testament of what that man is in this sport. But I think what we need to see with the Lakers is Braun be more off ball. He needs to be more off ball. More guys needs to be really facilitating that rock, particularly D'Angelo Russell. I feel like is the one that needs to take a step this year. Because, I mean, let's face it, on his own, whether it was Brooklyn, even to an extent Minnesota, he balled when he was away from the Lakers. He balled. I mean, he made an all-star team. D'Angelo Russell was that guy for a good while. And then his game is kind of dissipated a little bit. He ain't what he was. So I feel like he's one of the X factors for me with this team, because if he can operate from that point guard spot, take some pressure off LeBron to be able to play more off ball, to be able to, because LeBron James, I'll admit it, he's not the greatest catch and shoot guy. He's improved a little bit, but I do feel like D'Angelo Russell for me needs to be that guy to take the pressure off everybody, because if they're getting 15 to 17 and maybe 5-6 assists out of him a night, it does so much as far as open up that offense and open up the spacing to where you got Austin Reeves shooting threes, you got Dalton Connect shooting threes. Gabe Vincent, you saw what he did in Miami off the bench. He's capable of coming off the bench, hitting threes. It's all about not only opening up for LeBron and AD, it's about opening up for those other guys, whether it's depth pieces, Rui Hachimura. He had a really good game that first game against Minnesota as well. It's about opening up everything with that offense and everything with what that team wants to do. Transition, half court. They want to be a balanced squad. They really want to be a balanced squad, but they're definitely about that action when it comes to the transition game. But with a guy like AD who does it all mid-range, in the post, he does everything. He does everything a modern big can do, and it's really about just opening it up for everything else. So for me, it's D'Angelo Russell. If he can be a consistent piece for the Lakers, I know I've said, and I'm not going to run from it. I've said for me, they're still a play-in team. I've said they're still a play-in team because I feel like the depth, even though it has improved a little bit, still ain't where I feel it needs to be. But if D'Angelo Russell can really take that step and become the point guard for their squad to allow AD and Bron to roam freely and do what they want to do, then they went 47-35 last year. I mean, they could honest to God do it again and possibly push 50 games. I gotta see it to believe it though. I have to see it to believe it. But for me, the X factor for this team is D'Angelo Russell operating at that point guard spot because I feel like AD is already the best player on this team and they need to run this offense through him. But D'Angelo Russell for me is the X factor for this team to really open up everything offensively. So for me, the X factor is D'Angelo Russell. But that first game, I do like what I saw out of the Lakers. I mean, they were operating. They did a really good job.
We got my guy Kieran Sports in the building. How you doing, brother?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good, man.
Doing all right, bro.
We just talking about the Lakers season opener against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Did you by any chance check it out?
I did watch the game. Anthony Davis, man. I mean, I've been saying for the last few years he's been the best player on the Lakers. No one believed me, but it's all good. Yeah, their offense looked a lot better. Comparing to last year. I think the Lakers are gonna win. Like, if they can win like a lot of games, it can't just be solely create all the offense through LeBron James. Because LeBron James is older, he's almost 40. They get Dalton Connect in the rotation more. Like, he's a knockdown shooter. Austin Reeves is obviously a good shooter. I think their offense, like, if it's not solely on LeBron, this offense can be one of the best in the league. And that's not a knock to LeBron. It's just that he can't be the carry guy like he was like 5 years ago. Like, that's just my opinion. But AD hopefully wins the deep boy this year. Hopefully he does.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I think Anthony Davis, when he's on his game, this is what he can give you. He's not going to give you 36 a night, but he's definitely going to give you the defense. And I think hearing all the conversations about defensive player of the year, I think he's going to make a true statement, a campaign for defensive player of the year. As far as the X factor for the Lakers, Rui Hachimura. I think because I like what he could do. He could be the Lakers' third scoring option for the team. AD has to be number one. LeBron has to be number two. And also he's athletic and he can give you the defensive part. So if you can get Rui going, I think that can help out the Lakers. To your point, BRF, you mentioned about D'Angelo Russell. If he can give you some consistent games, maybe with the Lakers, who knows? But LeBron James, I would like to see him with less responsibility on the ball. He can be more off the ball. And besides, you can't expect LeBron James to play at this level any longer. Now, the man's about to be 40 years old in a few months, man. So at some point in time, you're just going to have to let him regress a little bit. Let him take some of the stress off of him.
I hate to be.
Go ahead, Kieran.
I hate to be that guy about D'Lo. I just don't think he's that guy.
I don't think he was. I think the only reason why they just brought him in because of Westbrook, because they needed somebody who could. Yeah.
Just that D'Lo's been in the league for what? This is about to be his 10th year.
Ninth. Oh yeah, 10th year. 10th year. I'm sorry, 10th year.
And honestly, like, yeah, D'Lo's a good shooter. He's a good facilitator. But we know come playoff time, he shrinks. This is not just on the Lakers. He showed it in Minnesota. He showed it in Brooklyn. Like, it's a recurring theme with D'Angelo Russell. And I don't think JJ Redick's going to help him out. Like, I really don't. I think my prediction for the Lakers, they're going to trade D'Lo. Like, he's going to play well for him, his value to get, like, up. Then they're going to trade him. That's what I think is going to happen. So, that's just my opinion.
I do think it was interesting though. It was great seeing Bronny and LeBron together on the court.
Yeah.
Bronny is expected that he's going to make a start in the G League, but look, man, I think Bronny, as time goes on, look, don't put too much pressure on the kid just because he's LeBron James's son. We just got to wait and see how let him be the best version of himself.
Yeah.
As far as what the rest of the NBA is concerned, man, Jason Tatum, he did have a statement game, unfortunately, Kieran, against your Knicks in the season debut. But they are, as we currently speak, they're getting revenge against the Indiana Pacers at this very moment.
Tyrese Halliburton, where you at, bro? 0 points? Like, come on, man.
The fact that they made him and Trey Young a conversation for the longest time still baffles me to this day.
It does, man.
Tyrese Halliburton, I just don't get it. Like, I don't see it. I've never thought, like, people were putting in the conversation like, oh, he's the top 2 passer in the league. He might be a top 3 point guard. He hasn't shown anything to quantify that since the All-Star break last year. Ever since the All-Star break, he's been objectively average. And that's not hate. Just like, look at the numbers, look at the film. He doesn't show it. His shot creation is mid at best. He is solely, like, really good in transition. That's it. He can't create for himself on the court, like, as a scorer. Like, he can't be your number 1 scorer. Like, he can't. That's not hate to Tyrese Halliburton. He's a great passer. Like, he's one of the best transition passers in the league, but I just don't think it's gonna give consistent winning. I just really don't.
Champ, you got something to say?
So what you're saying here? So what you're saying is, Kieran, he's the second best point guard in the state of Indiana right now.
Damn, you might be right.
That's what Come on, man. He's the second best point guard in the state of Indiana, right?
I don't want to say all that, but
Damn.
Oh man,
It is. But let's get into some NFL. Speaking, I'm glad you're here, Kieran.
Yeah,
we were kind of shocked though that the Pittsburgh Steelers, they benched Justin Fields in favor for Russell Wilson. But in fairness to Russell Wilson, he did step up in the game against the Jets. Your Steelers did everything they could to beat down the New York Jets, and I think the reason why they benched Justin Fields in favor for Russell Wilson is because he provides that certain component, which is the deep ball, because of some of the throws he made to George Pickens. They got the victory. Your Steelers are 5-2. What were your thoughts about the game in general?
Okay. First of all, I was shocked. I was legit shocked. I saw Russell Wilson last year in a system where he didn't fit. He's merely average. Champ called him Trent Dilfer, which was kind of justified a little bit. But this year, this game, like, he shocked me. Some of those deep balls are like Seattle Russ, what he did for like 10 years of his career. Granted, George Pickens made some of the greatest catches I've ever seen in my life that game. Shout out Pat Fryermuth for that one-handed catch. But yeah, Russ, it started off slow. He threw some of the best passes and some of the worst passes. The first like 2 drives, some egregious passes. But as the game like moved forward, he started getting his groove a little bit, and he was probably just rusty. Like he hasn't played like all year. He's dealing with like an ankle injury like all week. So yeah, I mean, if Russ can be like a game manager and just stay out of the way and just get his playmakers the ball, I think we can be fine. The only reason I didn't like him starting is because Justin Fields did nothing wrong to lose his job, like at all. He didn't play great per se, but he didn't play bad enough where he can lose his job. But the one thing I like about the Steelers this year, we're winning games when we're supposed to. Because there's always there's always like this thing with Mike Tomlin where like if he's favored in the game, he's most likely going to lose it. But almost every game this year that we've been favored, we have come away through the victory. And shout out Cam Hayward, he's playing amazing. TJ Watt is always TJ Watt. Joey Porter has actually been a lockdown man-to-man corner this year. So the defense has been great. And yeah, I mean, 5-2, we got the Giants on Monday Night Football, and then it goes on to that horrible stretch, like with the Ravens, like the divisional opponents. Like, it's gonna be an interesting season. We're gonna see.
BRF.
Whew. Arthur Smith, count your blessings. Count your blessings. Because if Pittsburgh came out and they had a bad game on offense with Russell Wilson, me and Champ, we were about to get ready to saute your ass like straight up. However, Russell Wilson fits the scheme of what Arthur Smith wants to do on offense. He's still athletic enough to run the bootlegs, to get out in the open, to make plays outside the pocket. And obviously, you can still see he's still one of the better deep balls in all of the National Football League. And Karen convinced me George Pickens has the best set of hands in the National Football League. Some of them catches he was making were just sick. I mean, we kind of knew about this. We kind of saw this a little bit at the University of Georgia. I mean, he could make some sick catches, but it's almost like it's like multiplied times like 5 since he's been in the league and some of the catches he makes. I mean, it's just the catch radius is just insane with George Pickens. So shout out to him. Hopefully, beginning to take that next step into being like a true number 1 receiver in this league. But yeah, man, the Steelers, man, they were very impressive Monday night. I mean, it felt like those mid to late 2000 Pittsburgh Steelers with Ben and James Harrison on the defense, and it's like they get a game they're supposed to win, and they just throttle the opponent out for 60 minutes. That's what that game felt like. That's what that game felt like. After the first half, the Jets had when Russell Wilson started to cook, it felt like the Jets had no shot. It felt like they had no shot. And then when the Steelers started scoring and they got up on them, it allowed Pittsburgh to pin their ears back and get after Aaron Rodgers. And I mean, the fact that Breece Hall had the game he had is astonishing because outside of that, the Jets did absolutely nothing on offense.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about that too.
I bet you do.
We will.
So shout out. So just really, that was just an all around really good performance from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and shout out to Russ. But I agree. Karen pretty much hit every point on the head. Russ doesn't have to be, Super Bowl champion, back-to-back Super Bowl appearance. Russell Wilson. He ain't got to be that guy. He don't have to be the MVP candidate, Russ. He doesn't have to be. With this defense and the fact that Najee Harris is starting to remember that when he wants to be, he can be a really good running back.
I forgot
because the way he's played this year has been another one of the surprising factors as to why the Pittsburgh Steelers are 5-2. He has been a really good back for them this year, and
he's running with a purpose.
Exactly. It's like you're not hearing about him fumble the ball. You're not hearing him. I mean, he's not necessarily getting stopped like 1 or 2 tackles. I mean, good Lord, one of his like welcome to the NFL moments was him dribbling somebody off the dang football field on the football field with a stiff arm. That's like one of his welcome to the NFL moments was him giving somebody the business on the stiff arm. So I do think the Steelers they have themselves in a really good position to really make some hay here in the AFC North. But yeah, man, that stretch that's getting ready to come up. This is what you call a put up or shut up type of stretch. They got to come out guns blazing, ready to go because this stretch of games they about to have coming up. This is going to be no cakewalk by any stretch.
So after the Giants game, right? 3 out of the next 4 games. Commanders, Ravens.
Yep.
And
not an easy stretch though.
No.
Is Jaden gonna play? I don't know.
He practiced,
but
okay. I think that he will this week because again, people want to see the matchup between. Remember, they got Chicago, Jake
Oh yeah,
Daniels,
Chicago.
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, right?
Yeah,
That'd be really fun. That would be fun.
that'd be really fun. Shout out to my guy, My Thoughts, My Opinion Sports Podcast, diehard. He's a diehard Baltimore Ravens fan. Go check it out. Does a great content. Undisputed world champ. Talk to me about the Jets Steelers game because you have a lot to say, not just with the Steelers, but I know you have a lot to say about the New York Jets.
Woo-woo. Hey, going back to what BRL said, man, Arthur Smith, you better go to church on Sunday and thank God for everything. Because
Count your blessings.
Count your blessings because we was about to do more than saute you. We was about to tenderize you real good. I'm just being real. So, hey, Arthur Smith, you did a good job on that offense, man. And let's not ever doubt Mike Tomlin again, man. He's the longest 10-year coach for a reason. So he's the longest 10-year coach in the NFL right now for a reason. Hell, he's outlasted Bill Belichick. He's done that for a reason. So, you know, he's paid, like he said, he's paid the big money in order to make those decisions. So I'm glad, and I'm glad that Russ is succeeding, man. You always hear about Russ is washed, all of that. I'm glad when we said let Russ cook that he went into the kitchen. He made a T-bone steak, cheese, eggs, and what's great, and fed everybody on that team. So good job.
Bar.
Yeah, so good job to Russ, man.
He been talking to Biggie. He been listening to Biggie.
Yeah, been listening to Biggie. But speaking of New York, who gonna tell Devontae Adams he got finessed?
Bamboozled.
Let's feud with hot sauce.
Yeah,
Run him up.
Because hey, Aaron Rodgers, you are looking WASH. Wash. Now, I'm going to just be real. You really thought that y'all was going to get rid of the coach at the beginning of the season and all of a sudden y'all was going to get better? Who told y'all that? That has never happened in the history of the league. In fact, the only team that ever fired their coach in the middle of the season and they still make the playoffs was the Las Vegas Raiders the year before last when they still had Derek Carr. So I don't know who told New York that all of a sudden you're going to get a super team and you was just going to go on a run all of a sudden. Now you get Hassan Reddick back, you know, which thank your lucky stars because not even that defense was looking the same this week. And that was the heart and soul of that team. Not even the defense was looking the same. So I don't know who told Mr. Woody Johnson and the New York Jets that you was all of a sudden going to get better by firing your head coach who, hey, when they say the Lord provides a footstool for my enemies to see, they did just that with Robert Saleh because, man, he's right with the San. He's back on the Green Bay Packers coaching staff right now. He is on the Green Bay Packers coaching staff right now with Matt LaFleur helping him on the offensive side of the ball. So, hey, God is good, man. You got to praise him because that ain't nothing but good karma. Because ironically, Robert Saleh spoke up for Matt LaFleur back in 2008 to get an assistant coaching position when he was at the Houston Texans. And they were roommates back in 2004 back at Central Michigan when they were graduate assistants. So there is a such thing as good karma. When you plant the right seeds, good seeds come to you. Hate to be biblical right about now, but I just had to bring that up. But I'm just going to be real. So the man who you got fired just landed on his feet in less than 2 weeks. Y'all still in trouble. In the great words of Tupac, you tell me who won. I see them, they run. So, and if you really look at it, man, you remember that team that Philadelphia had? I believe it was 2007, I think.
2011.
2011, yes. It was
Oh,
called
the Dream Team when
the
they
Dream
Team.
Michael
You
Vick
see
with
the
Sean
Dream
McCoy.
Team.
It-
This look like this New York Jets team looking like a downgraded version of that team because they was
They look
talking
like the
all
Scream
types-
Team.
No,
yeah,
Dream Team.
the Dream
I
Team.
called the Nets I called the Jets the Brooklyn Nets of 2014. Remember they brought in Paul Pierce, bro. It just seems like that. Yeah, they made the playoffs, but they lost in the second round. So like,
You knew they weren't gonna get anywhere.
yeah.
They ain't going nowhere fast, man. And it's just personifies how dysfunctional New York is right about now, man. You fired not only a good coach, but a great man in Robert Salem, and he landed on his feet instantly as evidence of that.
But
And
you know
now,
why, Jim? You know why, Jim? You know why? They're giving
because of
Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers
Rodgers.
too much power.
They gave Aaron Rodgers the keys.
Like I said, I can understand if here's what I don't understand, and you see it with every franchise. And let's just talk about franchises in general. As a player, a star player gets older, they stop acquiescing to everything that he wants. Even with Kobe with the Lakers, as he got older, they stopped acquiescing to every little thing because they realized you're not the future here. We have to give these young guys a chance. I don't understand the mindset, the ridiculous mindset behind Woody Johnson and giving Aaron Rodgers the keys to the Porsche, the Rolls Royce, and the doggone Bugatti.
He desperate.
You shouldn't be that desperate. When you get desperate, bad things happen. I'm just being real. When you get desperate for a meal, that's when you start eating anything. That's when you get poisoned. And that's exactly
he reminds me. He's Champ. He's like the type of person on IG right now that's DMing one of them hot girls that he knows he can't get.
Asking us you want a rent paid.
Amazing.
Man, because Woody Johnson thought homeboy he thought he was Aaron Rodgers and all them letters were with capital letters. He thought he was getting Aaron Rodgers. Nah, you getting lowercase, bro. That's what you get. You getting lowercase. You getting lowercase Aaron Rodgers. That's what you
right
get
there. Jets is Pampers of AFC.
Ooh,
I don't know about that, but
they're not that bad. They're not that bad.
They're not that bad, but
Nah, they're not that bad.
They're not that bad, but nonetheless, they're basura. Because again, this is what happens to your point, Champ. They've done too much to accommodate for Aaron Rodgers. And the fact is, look, he's coming off Green Bay. He's coming off the ruptured Achilles. They've done everything in their part. They gave him Alan Lazard. They now gave him Devontae Adams. They now gave him Randall Cobb. They now give him everything. I mean, he's in New York. He loves it there. I mean, what do I got to do? You want me to give you lobster? Do you want me to give you a masseuse? Do you want me to get you a limo? Do you want me to get you everything that you need? How much more do I need to acquiesce for Aaron Rodgers?
We don't need to talk about masseuses anymore in this podcast for right now. We need.
I got a bone. I got a bone to pick with Aaron. I got a bone to pick with like Aaron Rodgers fans because I said before the season, this is not going to be Aaron Rodgers back what he was in 2021. You should not put that high expectation on him because he just got off a torn Achilles and he's 40 years old. The only reason that Kirk Cousins is doing well right now because before that he didn't have occurring injuries. Like remember Aaron Rodgers even before the Achilles injury, he's had some ankle injuries, he's had broken collarbones. Like the dude is beat up. Like he's been beat up for most of his career. But I said before the season, the best that Aaron Rodgers will be is like the 11th or 12th best quarterback. I never expected him to be this top 5 quarterback again because one, his mobility is absolutely cooked. Like his best trait is like dancing around the pocket, making the play on the run with his arm. That is not there anymore. Like that is not, it is gone. Aaron Rodgers, like I love you as a football player, but you're washed. Like, and it's even more depressing because Garrett Wilson's really good. Breece Hall's really good. Even though Devontae Adams is older, he's still a good receiver. Like, there should
Kieran,
be no.
you know what the sad part is, though? The first half of the season, they were actually doing that well last year with Zach Wilson at QB.
They were 4-3. Before the Eagles were called frauds, they beat the undefeated Eagles.
That's shocking.
And the Jets were that bad. The Eagles are 6-0. They were 6-0.
But at the same time though, and I think another thing though is why those Jets, the defense was way more stable too. Like the defense, the way they're playing now is like a shell of what they were last year.
You know what the funny thing is? So when Robert Saleh, before he got fired, they were top 5 in like every metric for defense this year. Ever since he's left, they've been bottom 5. So
the thing is, when you take that structure away, that's when you start having problems. I do not understand why teams do not understand that. When you bench a quarterback, that's one thing.
Yeah,
that's one thing. But when you fire a head coach, that's more or less your structure being gone at a certain point right there. And I don't think a lot of these teams, especially the New York Jets, realize that. And people got to understand this. People talk about Bill Belichick leaving the New York Jets. There's a reason for him not wanting to be there.
You don't want to deal with
the reason why a lot of head coaches have been getting fired. There's a reason why they have been in the top 10 as far as draft picks the past almost 10 years, ever since they lost Mark Sanchez and that great defense that Rex Ryan had. There is a reason for that. And when you have a dysfunctional franchise like that and you fire a head coach in the middle of the season for a 40-year-old quarterback, like I said, I could understand if Aaron Rodgers was like 26, or even, I can understand if he was Lamar Jackson's age. Look, man, I'm not getting along with this guy. I just signed this huge contract, man. Y'all got to do something. Okay, you're our future. Okay, we can understand you getting rid of the coach, but you're not going to be there. Look, from what it looks like, you're not going to be there past this year. It looked like Shedeur Sanders might be on his way to New York at this point in time.
My Lord. I don't even think Aaron Rodgers has to be 27. Like, he could be like, I don't know, like 32. Like, he's 40 off an Achilles tear. You're gonna take his word over Robert Saleh?
And at this point, you can't really trust Aaron Rodgers at this point, because you look at it, they're 2-5 this season. Now, look, do I expect the New York Jets to get any worse? No. But Aaron, you went to New York. You wanted to go there. You wanted to move on. Now you got your opportunity. And your successor, Jordan Love, he's actually, other than the turnovers, and he's only missed 2 games this season, you look at the Green Bay Packers, they have a chance to win that division. The Vikings are 5-2. You look at the Detroit Lions, you look at the Green Bay Packers, and you look at the Chicago Bears. Aaron, what does it say about you that they've moved on from you? They've probably had enough. And Kieran, I know you saw the video. Myself, Champ, and BRF, I came up with the topic. Which quarterback would you rather go for this season between Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins? And it was unanimous. We picked Kirk Cousins. Not because we didn't think Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers, but the only reason why we picked him is because Kirk Cousins, even though with the offseason, he hasn't done anything controversial. Aaron Rodgers has. Missing time away from the offseason, hasn't done all the right things as a leader is concerned. You look at what Kirk Cousins has done, considering the fact that they paid him the money, and on top of that, they drafted his successor and Michael Penix Jr. Kirk Cousins has said and done all the right things.
And you know what makes it better? Kirk Cousins is not blaming his receivers either. Like, remember, like 2 weeks ago, Mike Williams, like, oh, we ran the wrong route. Like, bro, that's going to bring down Mike Williams' confidence, like, so much more. And, I mean, look what Kirk Cousins is doing. He's getting Drake London the ball now. What has Drake London has missed his entire career? A freaking quarterback. He's
on pace to have by far the best year of his career.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Darnell Mooney's a good signing now. You know why? Probably because of Kirk Cousins. And I feel bad because I did call Kyle Pitts a bust. He's been playing pretty good recently. I'll give him credit. Even though I don't think he's as good as his rookie year, he's still really good. But yeah, like look at all these guys. Like Kurt's not blaming anybody. He's keeping his mouth shut, and he just came off an Achilles tear. Like, granted, he doesn't have the pass injuries as Aaron Rodgers, but like Kirk is doing really well right now, and they're probably going to win their division. So,
I mean, considering the fact that Tampa, Chris Godwin is out for the remainder of the season, and who knows what's going to happen with Mike Evans with the hamstring injury, and it's sad for Tampa because Baker Mayfield was playing very well, and I still believe Baker can be a good enough quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but to lose those types of weapons. But I will say this for Tampa, if Baker Mayfield actually does this without his 2 targets, then we really need to have a serious conversation about Baker Mayfield. And we'll talk about Deshaun Watson later on in the show. Matter of fact, we'll talk about him in just a quick sec.
oh God.
But
like we talk about
but the fact that he has been playing this well and how Cleveland is at this point, Lord have mercy.
You know what's going to be even worse? If Jameis, like I'm not saying he will, but if Jameis Winston falls out next week, we got to have a really nasty conversation about Deshaun Watson.
We may, and you definitely going to have that type of conversation on Brandon's show. And shout out to our guy, Brandon from the block. Go please check him out on his podcast every Monday nights for football, and also go check him out for basketball as well. But speaking of Deshaun Watson, devastating news for him. He was injured in last Sunday's game against the Cincinnati Bengals. He's out for the remainder of the season, ruptured his Achilles. And look, man, it got bad, not even with the injury, before the game. You remember before the game when he made his entrance, people were booing him. And when Nick Chubb made his entrance, everyone applauded him because they know what type of a player Nick Chubb is. And obviously Nick Chubb at his position is obviously 10 times better than Deshaun Watson. And when Deshaun Watson got hurt, they were cheering. When he was carted off the game and when he was crying, he was cheering. And then, of course, you had Jameis Winston, Myles Garrett, most noticeably coming to Deshaun Watson's defense, criticizing, condemning the fans for cheering that Deshaun Watson got hurt. Look, I'm going to say this, though, before anyone gets in. I'm not surprised at all that Jameis Winston and Myles Garrett said all these things because, again, they're his teammates. So had they said anything different, it would have been far more detrimental. And if anyone could understand Deshaun Watson's situation better than most, it's Jameis Winston. Just like Deshaun Watson, he's had success in college. Both of them have won national championships. Jameis Winston, unlike Deshaun Watson, has won a Heisman Trophy. Deshaun Watson has been a finalist for the Heisman not once but twice. And off the field, have people forgotten Jameis Winston?
Oh, yeah.
The field? Remember, Jameis Winston was accused of SA back in 2012. And he was suspended for the first 3 games of the 2018 season because of the Uber incident. He was accused of groping an Uber female driver. And so if anyone can understand Deshaun Watson's situation better than most, it's Jameis Winston. And with Myles Garrett calling Deshaun Watson a model citizen, I wouldn't go as far as calling him a model citizen, but I can understand you coming to his aid in his defense, though. But with Deshaun Watson, it's over. Forget Cleveland. It's over. Cleveland made a huge, colossal mistake by moving up, trading up all these draft picks and getting him. And on top of that, paying him $230 million guaranteed. I mean, look, say whatever you want about Baker Mayfield. They talked about his immaturity, but you bring in Deshaun Watson, who's had 20-plus accusations of SA, and with the fans, the reason why the Browns fans, they were cheering is because of Deshaun Watson's play. Statistically, right now, he's the worst quarterback in the NFL. And them accusations. I don't wish injury. I don't wish bad. I don't wish ill will upon anyone. But at the same time, Deshaun Watson is no sympathetic figure. Matter of fact, champ, you talked about this. I don't know if you were on Brandon's pod or some other pod, But hell, when they acquired Deshaun Watson at first, they were even kids.
Yes, and that's why, if I could interject, that is,
Go ahead.
if I could interject, that's how come. Look, I don't feel sorry for Cleveland because for you fans, hear me when I say this and listen to my flapping lips. For you fans to have kids out here talking about blank them women, I want a massage. I don't feel sorry for your team. And I say that with my whole 320-pound chest. You had signs out there with kids holding them up. You had T-shirts out there saying happy endings are not a crime. You had that. That's what you did. We haven't forgotten. So if that's any indication of how you want your franchise to be remembered, okay then. You're just reaping what you sowed. We remember that. You had kids around that. You had kids around that. As an adult, you can do whatever you would like to believe, and you can do whatever, but you had kids holding up those signs. So when you have kids holding up signs like that for someone with that many accusations, and you have your sons and your daughters around stuff like that, hey, I don't feel sorry for you as a fan base. Look like to me, you that person who thought that the grass was green on the other side and you finally realized you got finesse. Now you want to cop a plea. I don't feel sorry for Cleveland at all. I don't feel sorry for that franchise. And I sure as heck don't feel sorry for those fans. You literally have booths outside of your stadium with mannequins imitating massage parlors around children. So I don't feel sorry for those fans. And as far as Myles Garrett and Jameis Winston go, that's what they're supposed to do. They didn't want to cause dissension in their franchise. What was they supposed to do? People are over here talking about, look, what were they supposed to do? Go out there and say, hey, we glad he got hurt. Good riddance. Now Jameis Winston can start. Was that what they were supposed to say? No, there wasn't. Of course, you're going to back up your guys. But for you fans, I didn't forget about those signs outside of there. When you had kids holding up those signs, you had kids holding up those signs. And I'm sorry if I sound a little bit offbeat than I normally do, but you having your kids hold up those signs that's sending a horrible message. I say silly stuff all the time, but I'd be doggone if I'm going to sit right here and have my little cousin who's 10 years old saying the things that I'm saying. I say, y'all know me. I say little silly stuff all the time. Y'all interact with me every single day, but I'll just be darned if I'm going to say that around any of my nieces, any of my nephews, or anybody who is looking up to me that I am responsible for. And for you fans to sit around here and boo somebody after you yourself perpetuated that energy and had those kids holding up those type of signs, alienating those women like you did, I don't feel sorry for you. You ought to lose every single game, and you better be glad that you better hope that this franchise don't leave. You better hope that this franchise don't leave either, because you already lost one.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No. It's good, man. It's good. And like I said before, man, look, Cleveland, I don't feel sorry at all for the organization. You knew exactly what you signed yourself up for. The Houston Texans are getting the last laugh because they found their successor in C.J. Stroud, and look where they're going as far as their career. Right now, the Houston Texans, they're 5-2. They're one of the contenders in the AFC, and Baker Mayfield is getting the last laugh. Champ, you've talked about this, and you've mentioned this to me multiple times on and off the air. They talked about how they wanted an adult at that position.
Yes. They said it plenty of times. They want, even Colin Cowherd saying that they want an adult in the room. My thing is this: it's okay to want an adult in the room, but the thing is, I'm not finna go from, somebody whose enthusiasm may be misplaced to a guy who has all of this stuff hanging over his head. That's the problem. You wanted an adult in the room, but yet you want from a guy whose enthusiasm can be misplaced a little bit. Because at the end of the day, Baker is just like any other quarterback. He just wants to play. And he looks at it as a game. He's like a kid out there trying to have fun. And the thing is, that enthusiasm at times can be a little bit misplaced as immaturity, just like with Cam. His enthusiasm can be misplaced as immaturity, but it's not immaturity. It's enthusiasm. I love this game. It's a privilege to play this game.
Which is something that you have knocked Deshaun Watson, because you talked about his social media. Anytime when you look at his social media, you don't see nothing football related.
No, indeed not. And I'm glad you said that. And every time you look up on Baker Mayfield, he's always doing something related to football. And the thing is this: you wanted an adult in the room because you misplaced somebody's enthusiasm. And now, you came up short. And the sad thing is about it, this ain't the first time that Cleveland has done this. You got a whole nother regime and you still doing this? Haven't you learned anything from the last regime? I mean, after a while, you have to say either this team is cursed or it's just a bunch of billionaires buying stuff that they just don't know nothing about just to say they own it. You have to start asking yourself that question about some of these billionaires and these pro teams, because the last regime was doing the same thing, making crazy trades, not doing everything right, putting their franchise at a deficit. Then you come right in and you're doing the same thing. You literally had Baker Mayfield for 5 years and you made it to the playoff. He brought you your first playoff win since in almost 25 years. The last time you had a playoff win,
1994.
Exactly. The Tennessee Titans were still the Houston Oilers.
Mm-hmm. And look what happened last year. Joe Flacco coming off his couch, winning comeback player of the year. And with all the circumstances that the Cleveland Browns were dealing with injuries, Kevin Stefanski won coach of the year and managed to make the playoffs.
Exactly. It makes no sense. And my thing is, I don't understand. I don't know what's up. I think you brought this up last week. I don't know who brought Deshaun Watson into that building, but for Kevin Stefanski not to say, hey, we messed up, he needs to go on the bench and we need to find another alternative, is, I don't know who brought him in that building. I don't know if that was Kevin Stefanski's decision or what, but I mean, fate intervened real quick when it came to that, and they better be thankful, because it was all you're still on your way to the first overall pick. So what are you going to do from here?
You better figure out and do something, because if you're telling me Deshaun Watson is the upcoming quarterback for the 2025 season, you may gonna have to do something. Because I guarantee you right now, with what you're seeing from Deshaun Watson, ain't it. And when you look at it, the reason why I say it's over for Deshaun, he's injury prone. And even when he's back on the football field, he's not giving you much. He's not giving you much. At this point, he's cooked. You, champ, I know you have mentioned this, and I know Shannon Sharp has mentioned this. Deshaun Watson, yeah, I agree. He is the Ben Simmons of the NFL, because he, at one point in time, Deshaun Watson and Ben Simmons, very similar. Before their regression, they were perennial stars. Ben Simmons, he made 3 All-Star appearances, Rookie of the Year. Deshaun Watson, 3 Pro Bowls. In 2020, that was Deshaun Watson at his absolute best. Mind you, that was the year without DeAndre Hopkins, in which the Houston Texans foolishly traded him for a ham sandwich and Doritos.
David Johnson. Yep.
Yeah. And Deshaun Watson statistically had his best year of his career. And then 4 years now, he's damaged goods. And his career, I believe it's over. Forget him as a starter. Could he actually be a backup?
You want my
Could he actually be someone that any NFL team can count on? Because he's coming off the Achilles injury. He had the injury last year, and them accusations, and he's got the worst contract at this point. You can argue he has the worst contract in sports right now.
No.
Oh, that ain't a question. That ain't a question.
No, not even that. Sports history. 100%. Okay. I'm going to talk
Worse than sports history?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's that bad. First of all,
because at least with Russ, he definitely made the playoffs.
First of all, so let's go back to 2022, right? Get suspended. I'm not going to talk about Deshaun and his accusations because Camp already talked about it for 30 minutes. Let's go back to 2022. Comes back after the 11th game suspension. We gave him a pass because he didn't play football in a year, right? New team, all that stuff. He's not playing good. The next year, he only plays 6 games. Champ brought this up multiple times. The best game that he played was probably that Ravens game that he played great in the second half in. That is the best that Deshaun has played ever since he's came back and was on the Cleveland Browns. He gets hurt after that. Doesn't play for the rest of the season. This year, plays probably the worst 7-game stretch I've ever seen from a quarterback. I know I've seen Nathan Peterman and bro, you have all these weapons. Jerome Ford is a solid running RB2. Amari Cooper, you gave Amari Cooper his worst year of his career, and then he goes to Buffalo, has a great game, his first game in Buffalo. Deshaun, it's time to retire. It's time to retire. I don't think there's anything saving Deshaun Watson at this point. He's completely lost athletically. He's completely lost mentally. I don't think he has in his brain that he can handle this anymore. He makes some of the most inaccurate throws. It's time to retire. There's nothing saving Deshaun Watson. I don't know what it is at this point. It might just be the injury just piling up and other stuff, but yeah, it's just not good. It's not good.
What are you going to do with the $230 million?
I mean, you're going to have to take it. I would cut him right now. And listen, for the sake of the Browns and their integrity, it would be smart to cut him. At this point, he's not living up to the contract. Not even it's not even close. It's Earth to Neptune, right? It's so far behind the contract that it is justified to cut him. Yeah, you're gonna have to take on that contract, but it's bad.
BRF.
All right, before I get into the talk, quick, just update. Just watch SmackDown. Hell of a show. Motor City Machine Guns have become the WWE Tag Team Champions after 3 matches.
Nice.
They it was the bloodline angle. It was insane. They beat DIY. That's one dream match. And then you get them going up against Gorillas of Destiny for the tag team titles. Same night. Usos reunited. And just it was a good show. All right. So now on to the topic at hand. Deshaun Watson needs to seriously consider, if not retire, take time away. Get your mind right. Get your head on straight. Because it's obviously not in football right now. And and it's the point I keep harping on. 2020 was, even though they didn't make the playoffs, that was the best season of his career. The best season of his career. I had him as the 3rd best quarterback in the league after the 2020 season. And you just have to people don't understand how good you have to be for people to rate you that high, even though you missed the playoffs. The fact that people are still rating you that high for your performance shows that you are really approaching your ceiling as a quarterback. And then just everything transpires, and then this drop off has just been catastrophic, to say the least. And it's a shame. But it's like, this is what else. Okay, I'll say this. Do I have sympathy for him? No, because at the end of the day, he brought it on himself. Do I wish the injury on him? No, I don't at all. Because as a guy who's suffered leg injuries in his past, they are nothing to play with. They are nothing to play with at all. And karma has a funny way of working. So do I wish it on him? No. But do I have sympathy for him? No, because at the end of the day, in a way, he kind of brought some of this on himself. But the Cleveland Browns organization and their fans, particularly their fans, I'm with Champ. They need to sit this one out. They need to sit this one out. Because the fact that they knew about the allegations, they knew about the lawsuits, they knew everything that was going on. They welcomed that man with open arms. They gave him a shot, despite all these allegations. And now they want to act like they're all high and mighty, taking the higher moral ground, and like well, for one, I'm not gonna say higher moral ground because I don't care who you are. You really don't need to cheer an injury, regardless of who the person is, because karma has a funny way of working, and it can get you too. So I'll say that. It's just the city of Cleveland and that organization with that football team right now is just a real big cluster that I just don't know how soon is going to be until they get out of this. I just don't know how quick they're going to be able to get out of this. It's going to be years. I mean, just the cap hits alone, they're going to take for Deshaun Watson. I think it's like $170 million in cap hits that they're going to take. That they're going to take on. How much?
$175 million.
$175 million in dead weight that they would take if he's not on that team. They are screwed for a very, very, very long time. Giving him that kind of contract, giving him that type of guaranteed money. Who in their right mind? $230 million of guaranteed money. Even Lamar Jackson didn't get his full contract.
I got the stat right here. If the Browns were to outright release Watson after 2024, this is according to Per Over the Cap, they'd instantly lose $99.8 million, or roughly 36% of the entire projected 2025 salary cap. That cannot and will not happen, even if they were to designate him a post-June 1st cut. The net loss would be $46 million, almost unfathomable.
Give up. You cut him now. Give up building your roster. You stuck. You flat out stuck if you cut him. If you cut him. This is worse than New Orleans Saints purgatory with their salary cap. And Champ, us being NFC South followers, the type of cap hell the New Orleans Saints been in, but somehow, some way, they keep managing to wiggle around stuff and be able to bring these players in. Cleveland front office, I don't think it's smart enough to do that. I don't think Cleveland's smart.
Okay, I'm gonna say that.
Go ahead, Kieran.
Sorry, my bad. I'm gonna say that. PSB, I know you're a Washington fan, lifetime fan. Remember the Albert Hainsworth contract?
There it goes.
You took him instantly to the bottom. Why would you do such a thing?
I'm sorry. But
why would you took my brother instantly to the bottom? Come on, bro.
That's okay.
There was no second.
No. I said
that's okay. I have the day off anyway, but hey, yes.
There was no second guessing that still.
That was the worst free agent signing in NFL history. You can actually argue in all of sports.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson's trade is the worst. It's worse than Russell Wilson's, because at least Russell Wilson, even last year, Sean Payton, he did him dirty, because Denver actually had a chance to make the playoffs last year in the last few games, Champ. And the only reason why they sent him out was because of the money situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
But when you look at Deshaun Watson right now, man, I don't know what you can do.
And it's bad even enough, because like people say the Russ trade is worse because what Seattle got for Russ. But Russ, he didn't play this bad. He never, not even
The,
close.
no, see, and here's the thing, though. I understand why people are saying the Russell Wilson trade is worse because of what they got. No, this trade is clearly worse because not one, but two franchises are now benefiting because of your stupidity bringing in Deshaun Watson, that being the Houston Texans and now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Two franchises are benefiting off of your stupidity. This trade is far worse than the Russell Wilson trade.
You could argue Atlanta. You know why? Because they wanted him.
He was about to go there. He was basically signed, sealed, and delivered to go to Atlanta. But then Cleveland came out at the 11th hour. Hey, $230 million guaranteed. Come on to Cleveland. You talking about the sigh of relief? I would pray to God Falcons fans should be having now. We would have been stuck with this.
I'm reading the stats right here from StatMuse. Deshaun Watson, in his 3 years with Cleveland, has had a passer rating of 80.7 with nearly 3,400 yards, 3,365 yards to be exact, 19 touchdowns and 12 interceptions in 19 games for the Browns. And if you look at Deshaun Watson right now, his QBR 23.6, which is 31st in the NFL.
You just should have asked me to throw a pass. You gave me a sandwich. I would have threw a pass for you, Cleveland. You know what I'm saying?
And now, no, go ahead, Kieran, and then I'm gonna speak my piece. Go ahead, bro.
So the average, EPA per play, it's like an advanced stat, right? The average EPA right now, it's Patrick Mahomes. He's at 0.088. That's like average. That's 16th in the league. You know what Deshaun Watson?
Dead last.
Negative 0.241.
How do you have a negative yards per attempt?
No, I'm talking about EPA. I'm talking about EPA.
Efficient.
Oh, EPA. Okay. Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about now.
The only one
How do you have a negative interval?
The only one that's worse right now is Will Levis, and we know Will Levis sucks. So, bro, that means he's been like it's like expect his points added. Like, bro, he's been far worse than the expectation on each play.
Hey, listen, champ, I told you Deshaun Watson may need to talk to not only Bill Clinton or Diddy for advice, he may need to talk to Bill Cosby for advice.
Look here, all I'm saying is this. With this man getting hurt and going to rehab, all I'm saying is this. With this man getting hurt and going to rehab, I just pray to God. He better keep himself. They better keep eyes on that man at all times. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but him going back and being in that situation, you just got to be careful. Because I don't want that man to graduate from Mr. Touch My Body to Mr. Satisfy You by Diddy. That's all I'm saying.
Wow.
What's with all of the pipe bombs today, man?
That's all I'm saying.
Hey, we keeping it real. We just gonna tell people how we feel. But hey,
and that's a Diddy and R. Kelly song too. That's what makes it even worse.
The reality is, Deshaun Watson sucks. He should not play in the NFL again. Never get a starting NFL job again.
All right, but let's move on to a little college football. Champ, you finally got your revenge. I'll give you credit because Georgia versus Texas. You were coming off a tough one against Alabama. You finally got your revenge, man. I saw you on the Sports for You podcast. Sorry, I couldn't come on that podcast. I wasn't feeling well, but I know you had a lot to say regarding the people who counted Georgia out, went with Texas in that game, man. Is there anything you want to say?
Yes, I just want to say this, man. Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for. Because the only thing I heard from Texas all week long, we want Georgia, we want Georgia, we want Georgia. And we came to your house, we checked you, cashed you, and charged you a fee. So my thing is, be careful what you ask for. And welcome to the SEC, Texas. We got a lot of more waiting on you next year and the next year and the next year. We got a lot more for because we beat y'all in y'all house. We came in the house, turned over that trash can, and walked out the front door after we asked your old lady to make us a T-bone. And on the way out the door, we beat you up. So the thing is, man, I love it. I love it. Kirby Smart, man. You can't. And the sad thing about that is Carson Beck. Good God.
Played like trash.
What are you doing? What are you throwing that? In the I mean, come on. I mean, you can't see. And you know, the major troll job by Vanderbilt to you know, this past week, they put up nets around the field. So that way, if they make a bad call, they can't throw bottles on the field. So the major troll job by Vanderbilt. Hey, don't go into Vanderbilt tiptoeing. You saw what happened to Alabama. I'm just gonna be real with you. You know, so Texas, you better tread carefully. But look, don't doubt the heart of a champion. Kirby Smart has the most championships in the SEC right now for a reason. He just went back to back, went to the SEC championship 3 years in a row. His second year at Georgia, he went to a national championship. He's been in these games for a reason. This is not his first rodeo. Now, what I do wish, and BRF, you can always check me. Y'all my guys. Y'all, I wish that Kirby would stop sticking with some of these quarterbacks a little bit too long. Like, I think he stuck with Drake Fromm too long, and I think we're seeing the same thing happen with Carson Beck. I mean, there's just no way, because defense can't bail you out every single game. And I think he stick with some of these quarterbacks a little bit too long. Every quarterback ain't Stetson Bennett. I'm just going to be real. I mean, you saw what happened with, and him sticking with Jake Fromm cost us Justin Fields at the end of the day. And then, now with Carson Beck, I mean, Carson, you got to play better, man, because you want to win a national championship, you got to play better in these big games. But for Carson Beck not even to play well, to throw only 174 yards, he only threw for 174 yards. He threw 0 touchdowns, threw 3 interceptions, and Texas still got dominated. I mean, dominated. It's nothing short of amazing, man. And I'm glad that Georgia and Kirby. And the thing is, man, there was a lot of
Magic City that night.
Oh, we didn't go to Magic City. We went to Strokers. So we went to Strokers that night. So I mean, it was a good thing to see, man. It was a good thing to see. I'm glad that Kirby Smart came out and silenced a lot of people, man. I'm glad, and the way he called out ESPN during that post-game conference. No one on your network thought we was gonna win. And even the refs tried to beat us out of the game. Chef kiss. Love it, man. Love it. Hey, man, this is the SEC. Welcome, Texas, to the SEC. Oklahoma beat up on y'all a lot when y'all was in the Big 12. Now it's our turn. Trust.
BRF.
I'm sorry. Because it was a shame. Because I'm a Georgia guy. And I actually picked Texas because I didn't trust Carson Beck. But I forgot. Georgia's got one of the, if they're not the best defense in the country, they're one of the best defenses in the country. And it's like we always say, when you're playing on the road, if you want to win games on the road, your defense and your running game has to travel. Georgia has the running game and defense to travel no matter where they go. That game was 23-0 at halftime. 23-0 at halftime. Like, shout out to Jalen Walker. Homeboy made a ton of NFL draft money that game. 3 sacks. I'm talking about all over the place. It didn't matter whether it was Quinn Ewers. It didn't matter whether it was Arch Manning. They could not breathe. I mean, it was funny. Steve Sarkisian puts Arch Manning in the game to try to give him a spark. He gets sacked too. Doesn't matter. I mean, Georgia's defense was they were on one Saturday night. And I'm watching the game and I'm looking at the game. I'm looking at it like series for series. George, you could tell the way Georgia came out early, getting after Quinn Ewers early, I was like, yeah, it's about to be a long night for Texas. Because when a team like when you got teams like Bama, teams like Georgia, these elite powerhouse schools that bring defense to the table no matter what year it is, when they come out into a game and they look the way Georgia did in the first 3 series of that game, it's about to be a long night for the other team. Texas they did not stand a chance. And I find it funny how a lot of these Texas fans are trying to find silver linings. Well, in the second half, Texas outscored Georgia 15-7. They were the better team in the second half. Nobody cares. You weren't in the first half, and that's what ultimately decided the game. Nobody cares. You lost. Yay. You outscored them 15-7 in the second half. What you want me to do? Give you a box of cookies for it? That what you want? You want a consolation prize for it because you won the second half? Nobody cares. Because when they look at the stat line, they're going to see those Georgia stats. They're going to be like, damn, Texas didn't play worth the crap. And they didn't. Yeah, you scored 15 points in the second half. Georgia was still flying to the ball, hitting everybody that was, whether it got a target, whether they got a carry, they lit everybody up. So right now, if Carson Beck finds that spark he had last year when he was just basically dotting everybody up last year, if that rekindles and he finds that again, Georgia is easily the best team in the country right now. It is easily the best team in the country. And it's funny because of how Alabama just destroyed them in the first half of that game, but yet Georgia still puts up 34 points in the second half the way they did, or however many points they scored to get back into that game. I mean, it was just Carson Beck just has to play competent, good ball and stop turning the ball over. And for the love of God, Kirby Smart, run the ball with Trevor Etienne. He, for me, outside of the defense, was a deciding factor in that game. That boy is a talented back. He is a beast. Texas could do nothing with him. And Texas has a really good defense. And they could not do a thing with Trevor Etienne. Feed that man. Feed the beast. Let him get his. Run the ball with Trevor Etienne. Set up your play action with Carson Beck, going to Dominic Lovett, going to Arian Smith, going to Oscar Delp, going to Dylan Bell. Just run the offense through Trevor Etienne, and I promise you will be okay. This boy is the truth. And he showed that in a big-time game against a big-time school. 3 touchdowns. Trevor Etienne's the real deal. Feed that man, run the offense through him, and I promise as long as you keep that defense in your back pocket, you will be okay. Shout out to the Georgia Bulldogs for reminding me how good they can be on any given Saturday.
Kieran, did you check out the Georgia-Texas game?
I did. First of all, shout out my Knicks. Whoop that. You know what? But anyway, yeah, I did. All I gotta say is, Quinn Ewers, you are terrible. You are. Oh man.
Do you feel like they should have put Arch in the game?
I don't know if it's a good idea to start a freshman against one of the best defenses in the country, but
He wouldn't have mattered.
I don't think it would have mattered either way. But oh man, Quinn has a rocket arm. That's like it. He has no accuracy whatsoever.
Hey.
Carson Beck, you are lucky you have that defense. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But if Carson Beck, Beck just stays out of the way and just gives the ball to his playmakers, I think Georgia will be fine. So, yeah, that's all I got to say.
Mm-hmm. I believe it's going to be Jinty or Travis Hunter for the Heisman, but folks, do not sleep on Cam Ward.
I think it's going to be him.
Cam Ward?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Cam Ward, simply because, one, it feels like the MVP. I just feel like they're going to give it a quarterback. I don't know why. Colorado did lose, which would probably help out Cam Ward in the long run. If Miami keeps winning, I don't see why not. He wouldn't win it because they'd be the number 1 seed in the country, and Boise State is probably fighting for a playoff spot right now. But honestly, if it were me, if it was the best player this season, I would give it to Ginty. I just think it's going to be Cam Ward because they have one of the best offenses in the country. Cam Ward's playing great football. Miami, if they finish one, he's going to win. Like I think he will. So.
Mhm. I think so too. And our guy Harrison, shout out to Harrison. He loves himself some Cam Ward, another Cam because he had Cam Newton, Cam Ward for the future. Who knows? But let's.
Harrison's gonna want anybody better than Bryce Young at this point.
Oh yeah, he's gonna say that. He's gonna say that. But go ahead, champ.
Quick question. I want to ask y'all this, just quick, real quick. I don't want to take up too much time.
Mm-hmm.
Do anybody think that we owe Dabo Swinney an apology right now? Because Clemson's top 10.
They are top 10, but at some point in time, though, eventually it's going to hurt him. He's going to have to get ahead with the times. Now, I'm glad that he's turning it around, but what happens when he goes up against competition, champ?
Yeah, I mean, if he beats the University of Miami in the ACC championship, do you think we owe him an apology?
I believe we have to.
Yeah, because the thing
if he does that, yes, yes. If he
pulls it off, then of course all of us have to owe him an apology because we constantly tell him, "Look, man, you got to get ahead with the times." And for you to still stay like this and still be this good, that says something. So we do owe him an apology. That's a great point, champ.
Yeah, because he's top 10 right now. I mean, and like I said, the only ACC team. It's a two-man race in the ACC. You got to wonder, Miami hasn't been playing a lot of ranked teams, and they've been in dog fights with every one of them. And you have to ask yourself this: when they face Clemson, are they going to get exposed? Is Cam Ward going to turn into Vinny Testaverde when he plays Clemson? Because we saw Miami have a good quarterback. You know, like I said, Vinny Testaverde used to play for the University of Miami. Saw him have that magical season back in '86. He faced Penn State, who had a hell of a defense, and he went out there and threw 6 interceptions.
Right.
You got to ask yourself, is Cam Ward?
I think so.
Clemson gonna turn into Vinny Testaverde at this point?
I think he'll be fine, champ, because at the end of the day, with Cam Ward, he's been very slept on. You know, he wasn't even a star recruit at one point. And the only reason why, because of the offense, the wing T offense. And for him to go this far, he's right now the second best quarterback in that draft. You can argue Shador's number one. You can actually argue Cam Ward number one. And I think with Cam Ward I'm sorry, go ahead, Kieran.
Oh, sorry, I was coughing. Sorry.
But when you look at Cam Ward, without him, how would Miami be? They barely beat Virginia Tech, and the other week against Louisville, they barely beat them. And Miami, considering the transfer moves that they've made, but look, it's going to be hard to ignore Gene T because of the numbers that he's putting up, and Travis Hunter. And shout out to our guy Trent. Our guy Trent does a great job with the college football in the NFL. Does his podcast, and my brother Mark Anthony just passing through and showing love. P, keep up the good work, bro. Appreciate you, man. But let's continue on with some football. The NFL. What y'all thought about the D-Hop trade? Kieran, I'm gonna let you go first.
So I don't think Diop is as bad as he's been playing. Will Levis has objectively been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league this year. They also haven't been using him that much, which I expected. They probably just wanted him to be gone. But it's a good move for the Chiefs because they need someone right now. They need an X receiver. Juju is not an X receiver. He's a slot receiver. Xavier Worthy, not an X receiver. He's a gadget guy. Diop might be the perfect guy for this offense because they're not taking any deep shots, and Diop last year was pretty good, like running down the field. He's definitely not what he used to be, but he could still be a quality like player on an offense. But like you see, like their offense right now, Mahomes has been struggling. He's been throwing more interceptions and touchdowns this year. probably the worst year of his career, even though they're 6-0. The run game has been good. The offense has been good. Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are better, but I wouldn't say like they're so much better because Diop is not as good as he used to be. But it's a good move for them in the short term. So we'll see what happens.
Yes. DeAndre Hopkins, of course, folks, he was traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. The deal is for a 2025 fifth round pick that becomes a fourth rounder if the Chiefs reach the Super Bowl and Hopkins plays 60% of snaps as a Chiefs. And the Titans will pay $2.5 million of Hopkins' remaining salary, which is $8 million, according to NFL Network. BRF, what were your thoughts about the trade? Does this help out Kansas City? And who won the trade?
Well, I mean, yeah, because like you said, PSP is a fifth that turns into a fourth if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl and D Hop plays 6% of the snaps. I think with the added incentives there, I think this is definitely a win for the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, still though, I'm looking at the standpoint of what DeAndre Hopkins is going to do for Patrick Mahomes. This is where I'm looking at it because we've known DeAndre Hopkins to have one of the most insane catch radiuses in the league. The man can still catch anything, and I think he's going to help Patrick Mahomes a ton as far as some of the throws he makes, as far as saving potential picks, overthrows, stuff like that. DeAndre Hopkins I feel like can still go get it. So I feel like he's going to help the offense from the standpoint. I feel like teams still respect him as a wide receiver. So it's only going to help Mecole Hardman. It's only going to help Xavier Worthy when they're out on the field as far as getting weaker people on them to where they can use their speed to go and get catches in their own right. And also and then Travis Kelce, he can do what he does as far as like in the hash marks in the middle of the field. He can do what he's best known for as far as making his catches in the middle of the field. Now I feel like Dion is D Hop what he used to be? No, but I do still feel like he's good enough to help this offense open up. Be more Kansas City as far as being able to put more points on the board. Because ultimately, I think where this offense I feel like can really thrive with D Hop now is the fact that Kareem Hunt is playing the way he's been playing this year. And as far as like the play action and D Hop, running certain routes off of play action to be able to make tough catches and be able to, really eat chunks of yardage up on the football field. So I think this is a good move for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I definitely don't think DeAndre Hopkins is by any stretch done. I definitely think he's still a really good receiver, and I just feel like at this stage in his career, he needs to be in an offense like this with a proven quarterback, with a proven head coach, like an Andy Reid, who's an amazing, who's one of the best play callers, if not the best play caller in the entire National Football League. So I feel like this is definitely going to rejuvenate DeAndre Hopkins. I definitely think this is one of those moves that can really like get the Kansas City offense back on track. I mean, they might not be like, 30, 32, 33 points a game crazy, but as far as the way the game's being played right now, respectable, like 25 to 27, 24 to 27 a game. With the way that defense has been playing, I think this is a very good move for Kansas City.
Boy, can you imagine if Patrick Mahomes had DeAndre Hopkins prime of his career? Whew.
Shut the lead down if he got him in his prime.
But this is my problem with DeAndre Hopkins. He could have gone to the Chiefs 2 years ago.
He did. He wanted to go to the Titans for money, and I can't knock him for the money part. But at the same time, he could have went to the Chiefs. I mean, look, good things in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and good barbecue in Kansas City. They got some good barbecue, and the food ain't as good as in Atlanta. It's not like in Georgia. I mean, you ain't going to. I mean, with Champ, Champ could go to Magic City. Then right after that, he can go to Waffle House, and then he can go to any other spot in the ATL or in Georgia. I know that for a fact.
Shout out American Deli. Shout out
Yeah.
American Deli.
Bro.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
Shout out
hey, that
American Deli.
12 here, baby.
We got one here close to me out in the Covington too. So shout out American Deli. Shout out.
I mean, when I think about Diop, this is probably the most meaningful football he'll play in like the last 5 years. Because Arizona, when he was in Arizona, I mean, he didn't play in that playoff game in 21.
Oh yeah, because he got hurt. Yeah.
And then 22, he got suspended in Arizona, was pretty bad. And then 23, I mean, on paper, it looked okay because Derrick Henry was still there. And like Ryan Tannehill was still like a mid quarterback, but it just didn't work out. But now, like, this is the most meaningful football he will play since 2019, really.
Champ.
Is it just me? I'm glad they did this trade because is it just me or thus far the beginning of this season? Thus far, I will say thus far, the beginning of this season, the Kansas City Chiefs are looking like the 2015 Broncos at the beginning of their season.
Actually, Kieran has been bringing it up so many times on our group chat.
You know what's sad? I said that and people called me an idiot, but like Patrick Mahomes is not like he this is objectively his worst season, like by far. Like it's not even close.
I mean, it's not crazy.
You could say the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, champ, because again they won the Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer.
But don't do that to Patrick Mahomes.
But no, but the thing is, that ain't even the whole part. But the thing is about people talk about Trent Dilfer being the quarterback for that team. People don't realize, man, there was 5 games where they did score a touchdown and they won 3 of the games. So that's how you know that defense was stifling. But I digress. But if you really look at it, thus far, the beginning of this season, thus far, the Kansas City Chiefs are looking like the 2015 Broncos. The offense is not doing that well. That defense is stifling. It looks like that defense is keeping them in a lot of games because Patrick Mahomes, I don't know what's wrong. Is his equilibrium's off, but he's been kind of a turnover machine. And, because the team's been winning, everybody's not really pointing that out at this point. Plus, once you're a superstar like that and you're being put up on a pedestal as one of the greatest of all time, which rightfully so, you've won 3 Super Bowls, not many people have done that. You're going to get a pass for it. But thus far, they're looking like the 2015 Broncos. What happened? They still won a Super Bowl, but that defense was the highlight of that team more so rather than the offense. But Patrick Mahomes definitely has to play better. I think a lot of injuries have taken over on that side of the ball. Rashee Rice got hurt. I think Juju's hurt as well.
Yeah.
Good thing they got someone who was familiar with their system at running back, with Kareem Hunt, because quiet as is kept. If he hadn't got in trouble, they'd have damn well three-peated because that first year that Mahomes came in and set the league on fire, the only thing that stopped them from going to that Super Bowl was Kareem Hunt.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, champ, because the reason why they brought him back, because again, he's familiar with the offense. And say what you want about Andy Reid. Andy Reid is known for giving people second chances. Go look at Michael Vick.
Yes.
And look at what he did with Michael Vick in 2010.
Oh, yeah.
Don't
remind me because of that Monday Night Football game I had to go through as a Washington fan.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna be real. I mean, Kareem Hunt, man, and he did a great job in Cleveland, man. He did a great job in Cleveland behind Nick Chubb. Everybody knew that Nick Chubb was the star of that backfield, but he did a hell of a job as being a utility back on that team. That's why they brought him back last year. So, but like I said, if Kareem Hunt, had not gotten in trouble, they would have damn well three-peated because going down the stretch and in that AFC Championship game against Tom Brady, they definitely missed him. So
Damian Williams wasn't that bad though.
He wasn't that bad, but he wasn't Kareem Hunt.
Remember, he wasn't Kareem Hunt, but he was solid though.
Yeah, he led the league in rushing that year. So I mean,
here's the thing though, right? Like with the Chiefs right now, they probably have to rely on their defense. Like probably at least I would say the next 2 years,
because Travis Kelce, I'm sorry, it's almost time to hang it up. It's almost time to hang it up. He's regressing like crazy.
Look, I don't say he's aggressing. I will say this. People don't realize this. It's at the first part of the season. It's a lot of distractions going on first half of the season. I think the second half of the season, he's going to turn it up. He's going to turn it up when they lead it because he's an all-time great. And, you know, all-time greats, especially when they're on the backside of their career, they have times like this where they're kind of stagnant at a certain point. And, you know, there's not a lot of – and you got to think about this. When you've won 3 Super Bowls, especially with the turmoil that they had at the wide receiver and the skill position, people don't want to talk about this, but I will say it. They have had turmoil at that skill position. It's been somewhat of a revolving door at a certain point. And they got Rashid Rice, and we didn't. And the thing is, going into this season, although they were Super Bowl champions, this was the most distracted team in the offseason.
Stole my thunder.
Oh, my bad. Because it seemed like everybody and their mama was getting, well, in their case, everybody and their dad.
That's what makes
it so hey, that really happened. That doesn't really happen now.
So, it seemed like everybody and their mama was getting in trouble on that team.
But to Champ's point, though, I'm sorry to cut you off, Champ.
Go ahead.
And you stole my thunder. I was going to bring it up. You know how shocking it is for Kansas City to still be undefeated, given all the distractions that they've had in the offseason?
Mm-hmm.
And the injuries?
I mean, and the thing is, like, when are they going to lose? Because they're not facing the Ravens anymore because they already beat them week 1. I don't think they play the Texans either. So they got Buffalo. That might be the best shot. Like, I don't know. But I don't see them losing anytime soon.
Over the course.
My point is that, like, as, like, defenses are, like, trying to figure out the offenses now to, like, slow down the offense. Like, we won't see, like, 30, like, point games, like, every week anymore. I just think the Chiefs have to rely on their defense more, at least for the next 2 years until they get, like, more offensive talent. And I don't think that's crazy. I think the Chiefs are going to rely on the run game more. Patrick Mahomes, like, he won't be, like, 22 Mahomes, but I think he'll turn it up. But,
They got the Raiders this Sunday.
They got the Raiders. I mean, what's the rest of the schedule? Who's, like, the toughest opponent? It's probably
I can read you the schedule right here. They got the Raiders this Sunday. Then the week after, they got a Monday night against Tampa Bay. It's at Kansas City. Yeah. Then they got the Broncos. Broncos is a challenging one because of what they do defensively, although we don't expect much from Bo Nix. Then they go on the road to Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, they got Carolina. They should easily beat Carolina. Then Raiders at Chiefs. I wouldn't sleep on the Raiders because this is the same team that did beat them last year, but anything could happen. Then the Chargers at the Chiefs, Chiefs at Browns. Then December 21st, 4 days before Christmas, you got the Houston Texans. Then on Christmas Day, Kieran, they got your Pittsburgh Steelers, and we'll watch that game on Netflix. And they finished the season on the road against Denver.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's only like a few shots left for like teams to beat them. Like maybe the Bills, maybe like I don't know. The Steelers might be a chance because if they keep playing like this, maybe. But we've never beaten Patrick Mahomes, so I'll say the 3 teams that have a shot to beat the Chiefs, like right now, if like they play them, would be the Texans, the Bills, and the Steelers.
Agreed.
I actually give the Broncos a chance.
I mean, their defense is really good. I just don't trust Bo Nix against their defense. That's the problem.
I don't, but I don't trust Patrick Mahomes taking care of the football at this point. That's going to be a concern, though. Unless you told me Isaiah Pacheco is going to be there to help out Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
But Mahomes, that play he made, that huge scramble, Oh my God, man, Patrick Mahomes, man, and this is why he continuously this is why we don't hold him to the standard with turnovers, because with Josh Allen, oh my God, if it were Josh Allen, we would kill him with the turnovers. And so
Oh,
far this season, he hasn't committed any turnovers.
well, he has two, but they're fumbles. But like he has 0 interceptions, which is still crazy because
Right.
he had 18 last year. So for him to have 0 this year and 18 like bro, that's crazy. But I also think with Mahomes, right, he's gonna get a pass than like any other quarterback because he's already won 3 Super Bowls. Like he can retire right now and be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like he doesn't have to do anything at this point to like prove to anybody. Like
If he wins, if he three-peats, you could make an argument he's the GOAT.
yeah,
I don't know, champ. I mean, that is possible. I mean, he's done something that no other quarterback, no other team has ever done in NFL history. And on top of that, the talent-wise, he's the most talented quarterback we've seen since Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers, we constantly criticize him for coming up short in the regular season. And when you look at the accomplishments at his prime early in his career compared to Brady's, not even close. Now, look, and I also told you this, champ, myself. At some point, we talk about Patrick Mahomes, the GOAT. We're going to have to talk about Andy Reid as the GOAT as far as head coaches. And I've told you, Andy, if he does this, if he three-peats, he's one of the brilliant offensive minds in NFL history. Unlike Bill Belichick, he's gotten ahead with the times. He's a likable figure. Unfortunately for him, unlike Belichick, he doesn't have to deal with the narrative, the Spygate, the Flakegate, or whatever. Players love him because he's known for giving people second chances. I think if Andy does this and pulls it off, it's a possibility. I'm not saying there's a possibility. There could be a legitimate discussion about that, champ.
my thing. Oh,
Go ahead, Kieran.
I'll only say this about Brady because I know Brady, like he was objectively like a game manager for like the first like I would say 5 years of his career. Like he wasn't an elite quarterback yet. The one thing I'll say about Brady is that he got better when he was older. Like a lot of quarterbacks don't do that. Like Brady's like I think Brady became like the best quarterback in the league in like '07 and he was 30. And then after that, he was still really good for like 14 years. Like a lot of quarterbacks can't say that. So I don't know if I'll call him the GOAT, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. He's got to play better though, because if he keeps playing like this, we have to have some real conversations about Mahomes.
Hey, Peyton Manning at age 37, when he was coming off his 4th neck surgery, 2013 season, 50 outside of that Super Bowl against Seattle, 55 touchdowns to only 10 interceptions.
Yeah. I mean, he pretty much played perfect. Like, people don't talk about this. Like, Peyton Manning played great in the playoffs except the Super Bowl. Like, it's unfortunate. Peyton could have the perfect season, but it's unfortunate.
But let's talk about MVPs. Lamar Jackson. He put up another MVP caliber performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And in that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 17-22, 281 yards, 5 touchdown passes, nearly a perfect passer rating, a 158.1, QBR on a scale of 0 to 100, 91.9. You look at Lamar Jackson right now. I'm reading the stats right here on ESPN. 1,810 passing yards. That's 5th in the NFL. He's tied second in touchdown passes. He's number 2 in QBR, 74.4. He is projected to throw 4,396 yards, 36 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. The Baltimore Ravens, they're on a 5-game winning streak. Champ, I'm going to let you go first. Even though you can make an argument for Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry has been putting up numbers, and the Dallas Cowboys made a damn huge mistake. Jerry Jones, it's on you. You keep making mistakes, man. But anyway, back to the subject at hand. Do you think Lamar Jackson's the MVP?
First of all, Lamar, you need to be thanking My Georgia Bulldogs. Because where's your offensive coordinator from? The Georgia Bulldogs, baby. So you need to be thinking Todd Monken, who came from the Georgia Bulldogs, because he definitely turned that thing around. Now, granted, he deserves a lot of the blame for what they did in the playoffs last year because they didn't do what they're doing now.
And the season opener.
Yeah. So the second year in the office is always a charm. Don't believe that? Ask Matty Ice. But I digress. So second year in the office is always a charm. First year, still working through it. Second year, whole nother ball game. But I think he is the MVP, man. And look, I'm hoping that he not only wins the MVP for a third time, I'm hoping that he interrupts this dynasty of the Chiefs. Because I think I'll just bring this up on your show with no reference. If you look at Kenny Stabler, Steve Young, and Peyton Manning, all of those guys had to interrupt dynasties in order to win their first Super Bowl. And this is the best team, especially offensively, that Lamar has in order to do it. And the thing is, with this team that he has right now, he pretty much match firepower with the Chiefs right now. They can overpower him if they do it right. But I'm hoping that he wins this MVP for a third time. And I'm hoping that he's putting to bed a lot of these skepticism about the running quarterback, about him being the running quarterback. Because he's passing his behind off. He's on pace to throw for over 4,000 yards and run for over 1,000. That's how good he's doing. And quiet as is kept, he's the best quarterback in his draft class. And did nobody want him? Not even the great Bill Polian, who was the best general manager of all time, wanted Lamar Jackson to play quarterback.
Remember what he said?
Yeah. So my thing is, people are always talking about, Lamar Jackson has astigmatism. To be honest with you, if you really want me to be honest, Lamar already won. He's proven that a running quarterback can lead you to an AFC championship. He's proven that he can be the leader. He's proven that he can win MVPs. He's proven that he can be all-pro. He's proving right now that he can be the best quarterback in the league, although he is a runner. He's the best quarterback in his draft class. In a draft class with Baker Mayfield, with Sam Darnold, with Josh Rosen, who's out the league at this point in time, played for my Atlanta Falcons a couple of years ago, and Josh Allen. People don't realize that Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, and Lamar was all part of the same draft class. And he's better than every last one of them. And didn't nobody want him. So I want him to win a third MVP, man. A third one. And I want him to interrupt the dynasty in order to win his first Super Bowl. Just like Steve Young. Just like Kenny Stabler. And just like Peyton Manning. I want him to win those. He's on track to do it. And like I said, I'm glad he's doing it the conventional way. I got to ask all of you media talking heads one question, though, before we go on, PSP.
Go ahead.
Is Lamar Jackson quarterbacky enough for y'all yet?
Oh, damn.
Oh, so we mentioned it last year.
It's enough. Because last I checked last year, y'all said y'all wanted y'all quarterback to be
quarterbacky.
So is this quarterbacky? I mean, in the great words of the Gladiator, are you not entertained?
I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know what quarterbacking means.
I don't know.
I never heard that term to play my damn ball.
I think what they mean by quarterbacky is they want quarterbacks to put up astronomical numbers like 4,000 yards, 30-something touchdowns, 5-6 interceptions. And I'll read you the stats again. Lamar Jackson is completing 68.2% of his passes. He is projected to throw nearly 4,400 yards, 36 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That sounds like Aaron Rodgers numbers. That's really Aaron Rodgers numbers, to be honest with you. Because if any quarterback put up those types of numbers, that's a hell of a year. And again, Lamar Jackson, to your point, champ, you brought up the Bill Polian, the former executive. He thought Lamar Jackson would be better off as a wide receiver. Now, how do you feel about Lamar Jackson right now? Lamar Jackson could win his third MVP. Lamar Jackson, I believe, is going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's already won 2 league MVPs. He's been to a conference championship game. He's had multiple seasons of rushing for 1,000 yards. He's been a generational talent. He's won multiple league MVPs. And only quarterbacks in our who's done that around his time are Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I will say this.
My bad.
Lamar. So Lamar is going to get in the Hall of Fame regardless if he wins MVP or not, because every 2-time MVP is in the Hall of Fame. It just is what it is. Steve Young's in, Joe Montana's in, Kurt Warner's in, and he only really had like 5 good years. So Lamar is the locked Hall of Famer. Now I'll say this. I don't like. So my thing about MVP, right, is that especially because we're only in week 7, right? There's still 10 games left. There's still 10 games left, and a lot of narratives come out about people. So I personally don't have MVP candidate right now. If it were to end today, it would be Lamar. I think Josh Allen's a close second because, I mean, Josh Allen is really the only force on that team for the Buffalo Bills. And considering he's thrown no interceptions, and he's doing this without Stephon Diggs, like he was playing good before Amari Cooper didn't get there. But, and like, my thing about Lamar is definitely the best passing season I've seen from Lamar Jackson. My one criticism about Lamar Jackson is I never said he was a bad passer. Never said that. I thought he was an inconsistent passer. But now Todd Monken has figured him out. He's a much better processor. He can read like the entire the field. The one thing I think that holds Lamar back for being like the best passer is his deep ball. That's really it. I think over the middle of the field, he's one of the best 5 in the game, and his short game is really good as well. But the way the Ravens are going to win MVP is that they're going to have to win their division. Because if they don't win their division, I don't think he's going to win MVP. Because I know it's funny to joke about the Steelers, but what is the one team that has had Lamar's number besides the Kansas City Chiefs?
Pittsburgh
Steelers.
They had them last year.
It happened last year. It happened the year before that. Lamar has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns against the Steelers. He barely completes 50% of his passes against the Steelers. And I get it. It's a divisional game. Like, Ravens, Steelers are always low scoring. There's really, like, never, like, high scoring games from us. But if he's going to win MVP, he's going to have to at least beat the Steelers once. He's going to have to beat the Steelers once. Because if they get the 5th seed, I don't think he's winning it. Because the Bills will be the 2 seed. They're going to be like, oh, look at Josh Allen. He's leading a top 5 offense. They're the 2 seed. He'll finally win an MVP. But Lamar is playing great football. I already said he's a locked Hall of Famer. I mean, personally for me, I think Josh Allen's better than Lamar. But they're 2 and 3 for me. But, yeah. I mean, he's shutting the haters up a lot right now.
And to your point, Kieran, you mentioned, I'm reading the stats here from StatMuse. Everything you said was spot on. Lamar Jackson, in his time against the Pittsburgh Steelers, has a passer rating of 66.8 with 870 yards, 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and his completion percentage 59.1.
Yeah, I was dead right. Yeah. And it's really good right now that Zay Flowers is like, it's unfortunate he got hurt against Tampa Bay. But Mark Andrews looks like he's back. That's a good sign. Rashad Bateman's finally been used.
Bateman is actually good. The problem is his hands, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think people are also overglossing the fact that the first 2 weeks of the season, the Ravens O-line was absolutely horrible. Ever since week 3, they started putting Mark Andrews and Unlikely and using 2 tight end sets on the line. They've been much better.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a running back like Derrick Henry, who's a power back, you want to have 2 tight ends on the line so you have much space for him to work with. And Derrick Henry, man, Champ said there could be 2 co-MVPs. He might not be wrong.
They could be 2 MVPs, man. I'm talking about for us to have two players on at the same time on the same team to be co-MVP. That's probably the best performance we're ever going to see since the greatest show on turf. And the thing is, they could very well be 1-2 in rushing.
Yeah,
because Derrick Henry's on pace for 2,000 yards.
And for him to be doing this at age 30,
we gotta be talking about Derrick Henry as one of the all-time great running backs. Like, this man is 30 years old. He already has a 2K yard season. He has 2 other 1,500 yard seasons. And then last year, I said before this season, Derrick Henry's still a top 5 running back. The reason he's not getting the production that he in years past, he's playing out a line, the worst O-line in football. The Tennessee Titans last year were horrible blocking for Derrick Henry.
And he still pull up over 1,000.
He's 1,200 yards.
Yeah.
right? And you know, and by the way, who's kicking themselves in the butt right now, whether they'll admit it or not? One Jerry Jones, because this is what would have happened if you would have actually gotten yourself a Derrick Henry. Hell, this would have happened if you would have gotten yourself a running back. And then you talked about Derrick Henry, well, he wouldn't fit the offense. Man, stop, please.
That's a lie.
In his defense, though, I will say this. You have to take into consideration the Lamar Jackson effect.
That's true.
Because the thing is, people are watching both of them. They're not just watching one.
Yeah.
I think that I'm not a Cowboys fan, but you have to watch with both of your eyes Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. You just can't key in on both of them.
I know.
I was also going to speak on that.
And that Dallas offense, when they line up in the eye, the only person you're watching is Derrick Henry. You know damn well Dak Prescott's not going to take off and do nothing.
I got to chime in too. I think my thing about like Derrick Henry and Lamar, the reason why they're so valuable is the play action game. Like they've been spamming play action, and no one can stop it because you have you have a quarterback who's the greatest rusher ever. You got Derrick Henry, who's been like the best rusher for like last 5 years. It's gonna open up everything else on the offense. It's gonna get Zay Flowers involved. It's gonna get Bateman involved. It's gonna get Likely involved. It's going to get Mark Andrews involved. Like, there's no stopping this Ravens offense. I will say this, though, about the Ravens. I still don't have them going to the Super Bowl. It's not because of their offense. It's not because of Lamar Jackson. Their defense has not been good at all.
Oh, no, they haven't. They've even had time struggling this season.
By the way, they are a bottom, like their secondary has been objectively horrible. They've been a bottom 5 passing defense in the league this year. Against the run, they're top 5. But I don't know, like we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I don't know.
But Champ, if I may interject, I know, look, I may never meet her, but Mama Champ is probably telling you if we actually had a Derrick Henry or some resemblance of a running game, that could actually take some of the load off of Dak Prescott. Granted, Dak Prescott is nowhere near the athlete or talent Lamar Jackson is, but at the same time, how the hell are we actually going to do anything without a running game? They brought back Ezekiel Elliott, and if Zeke were the Zeke of old, hey, but Zeke at this point, at this time in his career, he's not what he used to be. And when you look at the Dallas Cowboys offense, you need a true bell cow running back. You better get Ginty from Boise State, because without CD Lamb, how is Dak Prescott going to produce?
That's interesting. And I will say this, like I said, I don't think that Dallas has the offense for them. And like I said, people can say what they would like about Jerry Jones. Like I said, I'm not a fan. As we all know, my mother's a fan. Shout out to Mom. But that's not the same offense that they would have been running had he been in Dallas. Like I said, this backfield is perfect with him and Lamar Jackson because you got to watch them with both of your eyes. When he does that read, you're looking at both of them because you're scared as all outdoors that if Lamar takes off, then that damn well might be 7 yards. If Derrick Henry runs the ball, then guess what? He's been hitting home runs all season long. So the thing is, that whole Lamar Jackson effect with Todd Monken as the offensive coordinator that they are, yes, Jerry's absolutely right. That's not the same offense that they would have been running. And like I said, because if Dak does that, you know the ball's going to Derrick Henry. You're not worried about him taking off in this offense. And then you got to watch both of the tight ends. You know, when you have a good running game like that, the tight ends are your best friend. Then he's getting everybody involved. So that's not the offense that Dallas, I think, would have been running.
So maybe not the offense they would have been running, champ, but you're going to have to adjust this running back situation because if you put Dak Prescott on an island with no running back whatsoever, you ain't getting anywhere. And that offensive line, they're not what they used to be. You always tell me all the time, quarterback can't throw behind his back.
Yeah. They got to figure up that offensive line. They got to sure up that running game. But like I said, I agree with Jerry on this. I don't think that it would have been the same Derrick Henry unless they ran him 20, 30 times a game. And if you really look at it, Derrick Henry doesn't have to get the ball 20, 40 times a game in this particular offense in order to be effective. There's been times where he's ran the ball for only 20 times and still gotten over 170 yards. And like I said, that's because of the Lamar Jackson effect.
I feel you. Go ahead, Kieran.
My thing about Dallas, right? I understand. Like, would Derrick Henry be worse in the Dallas offense than Lamar, like the Ravens offense? Yes, he would. But considering the running backs you have, Rico Dowell, Ezekiel Elliott at this point in his career, you think their running game would be way better with Derrick Henry. And yeah, it might not be the best fit, right? But he's way better than Rico Dowell. He's way better than Zeke. And it's not like the Ravens paid him that much. It was like a 2-year deal, right? 2 years.
And by the way, he trains and works out and lives in Dallas in the offseason. I've heard Stephen A. Smith say that.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know what it is because last year Dallas had a top 5 offense, but they had a bottom 5 rushing offense in the league. It was heavily, and we know what Dak Prescott is. He's not like the superstar level quarterback. He needs some guys. Like, you need CeeDee Lamb. You need a running back. So I don't know what they're doing over there. I really don't.
No, they're having beer and nachos like they normally do. I told you about Jerry Jones. I've told you. I'm sorry to steal your thunder, BRF, but I've told you about Jerry. Jerry Jones is the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. He won't stay out of the way. And this is why I said before, no coach with dignity or self-respect is going to coach this team because as long as Jerry Jones is running the show, they ain't going anywhere. You better hope and pray that Stephen Jones is not Jerry Jones. Hell, he was the same one who talked Jerry out of drafting Johnny Manziel. Can you imagine what it would have been if Johnny Manziel were a Dallas Cowboy?
The sad reality is that people always blame Dak Prescott for his playoff failures. And yeah, it's justified. But the real main issue has always been Jerry Jones, and it will always end with Jerry Jones. You signed Mike McCarthy. It hasn't worked out. He always latches on to coaches. He did it with Jason Garrett. He's doing it with Mike McCarthy. He never really signs anyone in free agency. And Micah might leave next year. So good job, Jerry Jones. The Cowboys are pretty much poverty.
Y'all got room for Mika in the
I've been wanting to chime in. Okay.
Sorry, my bad.
And I want to piggyback off of Champ, off a video that he made not too long ago. And Champ, you should know which video I'm talking about. Oh, my buddy Joe, my buddy Joe, my buddy Joe, my buddy Joe. For you to get on that podcast and to say with a straight face that Derrick Henry's best 4 years don't match up to Terrell Davis's best 4 years, I'm going to need you to take a seat. I'm going to need you to take about 10 seats. I'm going to need you to take about 20 seats.
That pick.
Terrell Davis's, okay, I did the math on this. If you take Terrell Davis's best 4 seasons, they add up to 6,413 yards and 56 touchdowns. Those are his best 4 years. If you take Derrick Henry's best 4 years into consideration, that is still 6,272 yards and 58 touchdowns. I never want to hear Derrick Henry is not on Terrell Davis's level. If anything, Derrick Henry passed him when he got to 2,000 yards. That was one of the most asinine arguments I have ever heard anybody make in any podcast, to say that Derrick Henry's best 4 years don't measure up to Terrell Davis's best 4 years. That was laughable, to say the very least. And you have to look at it from the standpoint, Derrick Henry got 2,000 yards in a passing era. In a passing era. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to knock Terrell Davis getting 2K, but in his era, the running back was still a running back centric league, to where a lot of the offenses were still built around the art of the running back and the play action pass, even though the league is kind of getting back to a little bit of that this year. But if anything, we have to marvel at Derrick Henry putting up the type of numbers that he's been putting up from the running back position in this era of football, where the passing game has been king for the better part of the last 15 years. Safe to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like I had to piggyback on that video Champ did, because it's like I think Champ was being a little nice. I don't think Champ said everything he wanted to say. Well, I'm a piggyback. That was stupid as hell.
No, that was just dumb. Just be
Well,
mean.
It was dumb. It was stupid. Like
Derek,
how
by
do
the way,
you think you're about to say that?
not to mention with Derrick Henry, right? He's on pace for 2,800 yards at age 30. Age 30. Say what you want about the offense all you want. Yeah, he has Lamar Jackson. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying that Tom Munkin is an elite play caller, but it's not like Mike Shanahan wasn't the best play caller probably from the 90s.
Yeah.
And he also had a really good offensive line as well. That Broncos offensive line is one of the best ever. He also had John Elway.
Yeah.
He was no slouch.
If I
Shannon
can,
Sharp.
And that
Shannon
receiving
Sharp.
core he had Rod Smith,
Ed
Yeah,
McCaffrey.
Ed McCaffrey, Shannon Sharp. Come on, yeah. Them Broncos, particularly them 97, 98 Broncos teams, them was some loaded squads.
And not
Yeah.
to mention Derrick Henry's offensive line in 2020, it was merely below average. It was not good.
if I could interject on this real quick,
Go
this
ahead.
is why I said that Derrick Henry was better than Terrell Davis. Mind you, I am a Georgia fan. Where's Terrell Davis from?
UGA.
Georgia.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, Terrell Davis we get on Emmitt Smith for him having his offensive line, but the best thing that ever happened to Terrell Davis was that zone blocking system, because that system is equipped to make average running backs good running backs great, and great running backs Hall of Famers. And if
Rest
you
in peace,
remember-
Alex Gibbs.
Yes, rest in peace. He passed away.
Yes, he did.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. Damn.
It's been a few years, but yeah, he passed away. So yeah, definitely rest in peace to him. He's the guru. Yeah. And for those who don't know, Alex Gibbs is the guru of the zone blocking scheme.
Yeah, my bad, PSP. Excuse me.
Go ahead. No, it's all good, man. Don't worry about it.
But I did not know, man. That kind of touched me a little bit. I did not know that Alex Gibbs passed away.
Yes,
But
sir.
that
He did.
zone blocking system, if you really look at it after Terrell Davis, if you really look at it, Orlando Gary rushed for over 1,000 yards in that system. What did he do after he left Denver? Nothing. Reuben Drones rushed for over 1,000 yards in that system. What did he do after he left Denver? Nothing. Mike Anderson, fresh off a stint in the Marine Corps. Let me say that again. Fresh off a stint in the Marine Corps. After he played for Utah, came into that system, rushed for 1,400 yards. So the only back that
Don't forget Clinton Portis.
No, Clinton Portis was worth this salt. I can't put Clinton Portis in that because even when he went to Washington, he was still shining.
He was still good.
No, I agree. I'm just saying he wasn't as good.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
But the thing is,
most definitely.
When you think about that zone blocking system, Orlando Gary, Mike Anderson, Tatum Bell, and Mike Bell, you have 4 different running backs rush for over 1,000 yards in that system. Put Derrick Henry in that system and watch what happens. Though when you do that zone blocking system, those holes are as big as pickup trucks, especially going on the right side. You know this for a fact, BRF, because the guy who you told me was better than Jamal Anderson, Devontae Freeman, which I agree, was running through him in 2016 with our Atlanta Falcons. So if you put Derrick Henry in that zone blocking system where the offense is tailor-made for him to get through, he shines. And like I said, for people who are going to say, well, you still have to run through the holes. Yes, they had Tatum Bell. A lot of those guys were able to run through those holes. But the thing was, we saw the production from backs within that system, and they were very, very productive. So the thing is, put Derrick Henry in that same offense. The 2,000 yards that he got in 2020 was a hard 2,000 yards. That was probably the hardest 2,000 yards I ever seen somebody go through outside of Eric Dickerson. So when you think about that zone blocking system that Terrell Davis was in, that was instrumental in making him as great as just as much as his ability was. Because like I said, after he left, you saw 5 different running backs rush for over 1,000 yards in that system. And only one of them did something after they left. That was Clinton Portis. And like I said, PSP, you know this for a fact because, you know, he led your Washington Commanders to a playoff when Joe Gibbs came back.
Oh, yeah, 2005.
Yes.
That was the last time when we had a playoff victory.
Yes. So, yeah, he was the only person after Terrell Davis left. Well, after they left that zone blocking system that's tailor-made for running back to ever do anything. All other those 4 of those running backs, they went somewhere else. They didn't do anything. So that zone blocking system is tailor-made for running back. So if you put Derrick Henry in that scheme, he probably works for 2,000 yards every year.
That's facts. All right, fellas, let's talk about some NFL picks. Eagles at Bengals. Cincinnati is a 2.5-point favorite.
They should be.
Kieran, I'm going to let you go first.
I'm going to pick the Bengals. I don't trust Jalen Hurts enough. Even though I trust Saquon Barkley, I trust Joe Burrow in this game more than I trust Jalen Hurts.
BRF?
I think the Bengals are going to try to make this a game in which is basically the Eagles' passing game against their passing game, and I'm taking and the way Joe Burrow's been playing this year, I'm taking the Cincinnati passing game. So I'm going Bengals.
Champ?
I think the board's unanimous. I'm going with the Bengals.
Going with the Bengals. Another unanimous one. Ravens at Browns. Baltimore's an 8.5-point favorite.
Yeah, boys should be unanimous here.
I'm going to pick the Ravens, but I think the Browns cover. I don't know why.
Hey, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Do not be surprised if this is the game that Derrick Henry goes for over 1,000, eclipses 1,000 yards. Do not be surprised. He's already at 830 right now.
873.
He's at 873.
So yeah, don't be surprised if he break that 1,000-yard plane this Sunday, because the way they've been playing, is make you cringe a little bit.
So unanimous, all of us pick Ravens.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Another unanimous one, Titans at Lions. Detroit is an 11-point favorite.
Even
And
though,
deservedly so.
listen, you know I'm picking the Lions. This would be a game that they lose. I'm just saying.
Why you say that, Kieran?
Because here's the thing, right? I know I praised Jared Goff last week, but we know who Jared Goff is. I don't know. And that Titans defense is not bad. It's actually pretty good. So I don't think it will be a blowout. So
All right, I can respect that. BRF.
Yeah, I definitely hear what Kieran is saying, because this could be one of those games where Jeffrey Simmons absolutely just destroys the Detroit Lions interior offensive line, because the man is that good of a defensive tackle. But with that being said, I think the Lions offense is clicking. They are just rolling on all cylinders, and I expect my tandem, my duo, the Sonic and Knuckles duo of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery to just keep doing what they're doing. So I think it's going to be closer than what the experts may think, because I think Jeffrey Simmons is going to have a game here.
no
But
J-Mo.
And also, too, Jameson Williams, fortunately.
yeah, that's right.
Oh,
No
man.
J-Mo too. That's right. Yeah, I forgot about him.
Bro, J-Mo is one of my favorite receivers right now, but like, dude, you gotta stay on the field, man.
Exactly. I think this is this might be one of those closer than the expert thinks kind of games. But I'm still gonna pick Detroit. I just think their offense is just too. They're just too high powered right now.
Yeah.
Champ?
Detroit City, make me proud.
Hey, it's Detroit Rock City. Shout out Kiss.
Okay.
And
I'm not
sorry.
gonna lie. I just learned something. I thought that Royster 5'9" said it was Rock City, but I just learned something.
All right. Interesting one right here. We got the Cardinals at the Dolphins. Miami is a 4-point favorite. Hearts and prayers go to Luis, man. We all know he's a diehard Miami Dolphins fan.
Oh boy.
I got the Cardinals winning this one. I think it's gonna be 20-17. I got Cardinals winning 20-17. BRF.
There's a video that's going around, I think, on IG, on TikTok, and it's funny because it's a meme, and it's saying Tua Tagovailoa coming back to save fantasy football for the Miami Dolphins, and it's the SummerSlam entrance of Roman Reigns coming back, which I thought was pretty funny. But but it's crazy to me how, if Tua Tagovailoa can stay healthy, how good Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill have been in Miami with Tua Tagovailoa. And the concussions just is scaring me. It scares me, and the fact that he's come out and said he's not going to wear a Guardian cap, just, oh my gosh, I don't know how to feel about it. But I think if that offensive line just keeps him upright, if they keep him upright, I think Miami wins this game. They keep him upright to where he can hit his passes. I'm picking Miami here. I think if they keep him upright, I think this offense comes back. So I'm picking Miami here.
Champ.
Miami life. I'm hoping Tua. Look, man. I play a lot. I joke a lot. Y'all know me, but man, this is a serious moment. Slide. Be careful out there. I'm not scared of a lot of things, but right now, I don't think I'm going to be watching that game because I'm scared for you.
Oh yeah.
I'm scared for you. I'm not afraid of a lot of things in this world, but I'm scared for you because I'm afraid that if you go out there with the reckless abandon that you have, I'm afraid that one day you might not get back up. That's that, and although, like I said, that scares me. That it really does. And I'm gathering my words, man. I'm really hoping that not only does the team protect you, but you protect yourself. And Miami, in FL, if he goes out there and he gets hurt, do not let him come back. I'll say this again. If he goes out there and gets hurt again, do not let him come back.
Kieran.
Oh man. I'm nervous for this game because pretty much what Champ said. I do not want him to get hurt. I think if he gets sacked once, I'm gonna cringe like in my seat. So I'm probably gonna avoid this game. Who I think will win? I actually think this is gonna be a pretty good game. I think Tyreek Hill finally wakes up because this quarterback play is horrible, man. Especially the offensive line too. It's been really bad. But I think Tua gives them a better shot than any quarterback they've had this year. I think Javon A-Chain plays better. I think Waddle plays better. I am going with the Cardinals because I think Kyler's been underrated this year. James Conner looks good. Trey McBride's good. The disappointment has been Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think he'll be better this week. I'm going to go with Arizona.
All right. Another interesting one. Jets at Patriots. The Jets got their victory early against the Patriots, I think week 2, Thursday Night Football. The Jets are 7-point favorites.
That is crazy.
That is, though. Which is why I got the Patriots winning this one.
Okay, so here's my thing, right? I got the Jets, but here's the thing. Their defense is bad, man. It's bad. Like, why do they think they're gonna win by like a touchdown? This is gonna be a 3-point game, and it's gonna end like 17-14, and the Jets are gonna win on a game-winning field goal. That's what's gonna happen.
Drake May's actually played well these past
He's
couple
not played
games.
bad either. Yeah, like he's not bad. So I don't know why the Jets are favored by 7. Like it's crazy.
They shouldn't be.
But I will say this though, I'm picking the Jets because they're desperate right now. Because if they win, their season, or if they lose, their season's definitely over. Definitely.
All right. BRF.
All righty. Yep, I'm gonna do it. I'm picking the Patriots here. I'm picking the Patriots here. Like it's in Foxborough too, isn't it?
Yes.
That's why I'm picking the Patriots here. For some, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Drake May's been pretty good. His first couple of starts, he's been pretty good. He's not been bad at all. Like he's shown flashes of the physical talent that that he does possess. So he's shown flashes, and I feel like with that Jets defense, they're not playing with any confidence right now on the defensive side of the ball. I feel like if there was ever a game that the New England Patriots could just go out and just actually, get it done, I think this is it. I'm picking the Patriots. So just the Foxborough aura. Just I feel like something crazy is gonna happen in this game. This is like I don't pick too many upset specials much, but I'm picking an upset special here. I'm going Patriots. And the Jets should not be 7-point favorites. I think that is a joke.
It is though. I'm sorry, Champ.
You know what? I'm gonna pick the Jets because this is a must win. This is a must win because right now, you do so much as wipe your feet sideways, you out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So you do so much as wipe your feet sideways right now, New York. You up out of here. And so, hey, I gotta pick the Jets. I don't want you to fall, but unfortunately, I think you are. But I'm gonna pick you because I think you're desperate at this point. So, hey.
All right, PSP. I gotta head out, but
Pre-
it's good
appreciate
talking
you,
to you
man.
all.
Appreciate
All
you,
right,
Kieran.
Kieran.
Always a pleasure having you on the pod. You're always welcome to come back, man. Thank you.
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
sir.
I'll see you.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to our guy Kieran. Does a lot of great jobs. Does a great job, man. Stay tuned because check him out on TikTok, guys. He does a lot of great stuff on TikTok, IG, so much more, man. Now, obviously, another game. Both of y'all should know this one. Atlanta at Tampa. Of course, let's not forget the great Thursday night football game in which Kirk Cousins threw for a career high 509 yards, including the game-winning touchdown pass. Baker Mayfield is going to have to go without Chris Godwin out for the rest of the season. And who knows? He's probably not going to have Mike Evans. So I think it's fair to say unanimous Atlanta.
FILA. Forever I love Atlanta. So
I will say this though. I got to put it in realism. I got to put it in perspective. Jalen McMillan is a good wide receiver. So do not be shocked at all if he goes off in this game because the Atlanta secondary can be a little suspect as far as letting these no-name wide receivers come out of nowhere and torch them. With that being said, though, that Tampa Bay pass defense has been so bad. Kirk Cousins is going to look at them and he's going to be like, "Man, I got 509 on y'all last week. What y'all going to do to me this week? I'm not scared of you." I think Kurt has another 300-yard game, and I think the Falcons win this game.
And on top of that, Baker Mayfield, I love Baker, but the past 2 games, he's thrown 5 interceptions. Now, I don't see Baker Mayfield having a struggle. I still believe he'll play well, but at the same time, Waffle House and Magic City is Atlanta. That's all I'm going to say.
And one more quick thing as far as the Falcons are concerned, as far as that defensive line is concerned, I want to see more Rook Orohoro. I want to see Brandon Dorless, and I want to see Zach Harrison. I want to see all 3 of those young guys get out there and actually get some playing time. Anything can be better than what this defensive line is doing right now. Matt Judon has been one of the biggest disappointments in terms of free agent acquisition so far. Only a sack and a half. He's got to step it up. But I want to see Zach Harrison. I want to see Orohoro, and I want to see Brandon Dorless in this game. We need a spark. All those young guys need to get some significant playing time this week.
All right, next game right here. Packers at Jaguars. Green Bay is a 4-point favorite. Champ, we all know you're not the biggest Trevor Lawrence dude in the world. Who do you have in this game?
go, Pack, go. I don't have no faith in Trevor Lawrence because Packers are too good of a team. And right now, they just got another advantage with Robert Salem coming and joining the staff and helping Matt LaFleur on the offensive side of the ball. So I think they might lose by 20.
BRF?
I think this is going to be as we like to say, this is going to be a BTA kind of game. Is what I'm really feeling like this is going to be. Because the Jacksonville pass defense has been god awful, and Jordan Love has been lighting it up in the passing game with Romeo Dobbs and Jaden Reed and Christian Watson and Dontavian Wicks. I feel sorry for Jacksonville this game. I think Green Bay is going to throw them completely out the building in this game.
All right, we got another one right here. Colts at Texans. Seems like they're gonna go with Anthony Richardson at the starter. I truly believe if Joe Flacco were there, they would have a better chance. But I'm gonna go with the Texans in this one, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just not that high on Anthony Richardson. Champ and I, we had the conversation between Caleb or Anthony Richardson. Both of us picked Caleb, man. And if you look at Anthony Richardson this season, I mean, he had another. I mean, although they won against the Miami Dolphins, but if you look at his numbers, still 3 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions, completing 48.5% of his passes. He is projected to throw 7 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, little over 1,900 yards with a passer rating of 60.
Looks like the Colts have reverted back to their old ways before Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning as far as drafting quarterbacks, huh? So I digress. That's nasty. I'm sorry. But hey, Colts ain't built to win right about now, man. I mean, if Flacco was in there, I would take a stronger look, but he's not. So hey, gotta go with the other team, man. Gotta go with the Texans. Plus, the Texans. Look, with that team, with that pass rush, they're gonna give Anthony Richardson headaches all day long. Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter are about to give him some headaches that he never even knew he had. So I mean, even when he was playing decent, he only completed 9 passes. I think people get too drawn in with Anthony Richardson with the bomb. People get too drawn in with the bomb. And that's the reason why I have to pick the Houston Texans.
BRF?
I completely agree with Champ. People got so hung up on that ridiculous pass he hit Alec Pierce on for that long bomb touchdown. They forget that you do still have to hit your short and your intermediate passes as well. And I'm sorry, 48% completion percentage is not going to get it done. Will Anderson is one of my favorite defensive players in all of the National Football League. And I think he makes a statement out there. This game against Indy, I got Houston. I think this might be a double-digit type of game here. I think I got Houston by double digits.
I have Houston winning this one. I would like their chances there at Joe Flacco at quarterback. Another one, Saints at Chargers. Chargers are 7-point favorite to win this one.
I think it should be unanimous here. LA.
LA. All right, another one, Bills at Seahawks. Buffalo is a 3-point favorite.
I'm gonna go Buffalo, but their pass defense ain't really been that great, and we know Seattle likes to throw in bunches. And Gino got DK, and he's got Lockett, and he's got JSN. So I think they're gonna get some numbers, and they're gonna get theirs. Josh Allen is still Josh Allen at the end of the day. I'm picking Buffalo.
Champ?
Buffalo.
I'm going to go with Seattle. As long as Geno Smith plays smart, and I think this is going to be the game in which Josh Allen is going to commit a turnover, I think Seattle can pull off and win this one. Carolina at Denver. Denver is a 10.5-point favorite. Bryce Young will be the starter.
Man,
I got Denver.
Would it really matter if Andy Dalton was the starter at this point? Because he had that little 10 minutes of fame. He had that 60 seconds of fame and wasted 45 seconds of it. Then he came right back to earth quicker than a hiccup. So,
but that's what I said. That's what I said. That when people got excited about Andy Dalton having that good game against Vegas, I'm like, he does this every time you pull him out to be the starting quarterback. He has that one really, really good game. And then it's like, oh wait, no, it's Andy Dalton. He ain't what he was in Cincinnati. No, not at all. And he comes back, and it's like it's like Cinderella with the glass slipper. and then the slipper comes off, and then it's like, oh wait, no, that's you. That's right. Okay, no. And Denver, I got Denver winning this.
Denver champ, unanimous.
Yep.
All right, next one. Chiefs at Raiders. Kansas City 9.5-point favorite.
KC.
Same here. Although KC's offense will struggle, but we expect their defense to step up.
KC.
Now, I think this is going to be the game of the week. Bears at Commanders. Chicago is a 3-point favorite in that one. The two candidates for Offensive Rookie of the Year, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, top 2 picks in the draft. Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick. Jaden Daniels, number 2 overall pick. We don't know whether Jaden Williams is going to play because he suffered a rib injury. Marcus Mariota stepped in for the rest of that game against the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to go with Chicago on this one because I do think them coming off the bye week, if anyone is going to give him some bulletin board material on how to deal with Jaden Daniels, although he's never faced them, but he is familiar with Washington, and I've been telling Champ all along about a certain guy in one Montez Sweat. I've been telling him about Montez Sweat. And Atlanta Falcons better wish they would have had a guy like a Montez Sweat on their team. I think Montez Sweat is going to have a big time game. I would the only way it's going to be interesting because, again, Caleb Williams, although this game is in Landover, Maryland, he is a native of DC. And the reason why Washington, there was a possibility they could have drafted Caleb Williams is because of Cliff Kingsbury. They brought him there as the offensive coordinator. Remember, Cliff Kingsbury was the offensive coordinator in Caleb Williams' final year with the USC Trojans. But I do think it's going to be a really exciting game. Go ahead, BRF.
Freddie Freeman just hit a grand slam for the Dodgers.
Oh, wow.
Shout out. Hey, I picked the Yankees to win the World Series, but Freddie, and not just a grand slam, he walked it off with a slam.
Oh, wow.
So Dodgers win game 1, Freddie Freeman game winning grand slam.
Interesting.
Freddie strikes again in the World Series.
But hey, even though he rocking that blue and white with the Dodgers, he is Atlanta bred, Atlanta raised. Shout out to Freddie Freeman. When he succeeds, I am still a happy baseball fan because he is one of the great dudes in all of baseball.
But I got Bears winning this one because I don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to play. I've got concerns about the defensive part. Jonathan Allen, he's out for the rest of the season. And on top of that, I would feel much safer for Washington if we have the running game with Brian Robinson Jr., Jerry McNichols, and Austin Eckler. But I got Chicago win this one 27-25. BRF.
Chicago plays the better defense. I'm gonna go Chicago. Yeah, kind of in that. I mean, both teams are still gonna score, especially if Jaden Daniels is starting. So I'm gonna say, yeah, kind of in that 28-24 range. But I'm gonna go Chicago. I think their defense makes one more play in this game. I'm gonna go Chicago.
World champ.
If I was certain about Jaden Daniels playing, I would say Chicago. I would say Washington. What am I thinking about? But I'm not for certain, so I have to go with Chicago. But I will say this, man. Cliff Kingsbury is doing one heck of a job with this team as far as offensive coordinator is concerned. And you got to ask yourself, especially with how Kyler's doing right now, what will he do once he gets another coaching job and he's able to get a more cooperative quarterback? So
Hey, I've never questioned or doubted Jaden Daniels' talent. What I question was his size, man. I mean, he is a skinny dude though. So I just hope he plays. Then Sunday night football, Cowboys at 49ers. San Francisco is a 4.5 point favorite. They're coming off a tough loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. Believe it or not, folks, I got Cowboys win this one. San Francisco, if this were ever a time for you to run the football against a team that's not good on stopping the run, you might as well do it because Brock Purdy has been struggling taking care of the football. So if you're San Francisco, this is a great opportunity for you to run the football because Brock Purdy this season has not been taking care of the football. You saw the game against the Kansas City Chiefs. You saw the game against these Arizona Cardinals. Brock Purdy has thrown 9 touchdowns to only 7 interceptions this season. He has struggled taking care of the football this season. I think in order for San Francisco to win, you're just going to have to run the football, take the pressure out of Brock Purdy's hands. Brock Purdy right now, he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th. He is 8th in the NFL in interceptions. That's not a good statistical category. Kyle Shanahan, you've been criticized for not running the football as much in the Super Bowls. If this were ever a time for you to run the football, you might as well do it. Because if you're asking Brock Purdy to throw the ball 30, 40 times, you're asking for a world of trouble. And it's against the Dallas Cowboys rushing defense. Not a great rushing defense. Capitalize on it. And as the other side of the football field is concerned, by the way, you did lose Brandon Ayuk for the rest of the season. So you have no other choice but to run the football. And by the way, on the other side of the football, just put pressure on Dak Prescott in the pocket and dare Dallas to run the football.
Mm-hmm.
But I have Dallas winning this one because I think Dallas coming off the bye, they'll be better. They'll have a better game plan. Champ.
Brock Purdy. If there was ever a time that you can prove to San Fran that you are worth 200 mil, the time is now. Because you're missing Jennings, you're missing Kittle, you're missing Debo, you're missing Ayuk, you're missing McCaffrey, you're missing pretty much all the skill position players that led them to Super Bowls and the NFC Championship. So this is your turn to prove to everyone that you're not just a product of that system and a product of all of those great skill position players. This is your opportunity to prove that you are a game changer, not just a game manager. This is your opportunity. And for that reason, I'm going to pick the San Francisco 49ers. I think he picks that defense apart.
BRF?
I'm picking the San Francisco 49ers just because I don't trust Dallas on the road in primetime situations. Even with a bye week, I don't trust them in big time primetime games. I don't trust them. I mean, yeah, they got that win against Pittsburgh, but it took all the fibers in their beings to scrape that one out. And I just feel like this is going to be the Jordan Mason show. For me, this is going to be the Jordan Mason show. I think Kyle Shanahan is going to come in here with a game plan to run Jordan Mason until his legs get tired, and then run him some more, and just let Brock Purdy, benefit of having the threat of play action there, and then because from on the surface you say, yeah, Dallas coming off the bye week, Dallas got relatively healthy for the most part outside of Michael Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence, coming into this game, but even still, I do not trust the Dallas Cowboys on the road in primetime situations. I just don't. I am picking the San Francisco 49ers.
All right, in our last game, Giants at Steelers.
Ooh, Pittsburgh.
The steel curtain.
Steel curtain it is, and the Steelers are a 6-point favorite in that one. All right, folks, let's talk about wrestling. Favorite Rey Mysterio moment. BRF, you go first.
Mm, I have a lot. I have a lot of Rey Mysterio moments because he's definitely one of those I grew up with, regardless of whether they were a heavyweight or a cruiserweight. I mean, he is the lucha libre goat for me in terms of like Mexican wrestling and what Mexican wrestling means to the sport. Um, I got a few that stand out. I don't want to use up too much, but his Lucha Underground run, I loved it. I thought it was amazing because this was after he left. Because this was after he left WWE and he wasn't in the greatest of shape, so he had to basically work himself back into shape. And then that Lucha Underground run, like his like Pentagon Junior and Prince Puma and all those guys he wrestled up against Lucha Underground. I mean, they were just it reminded people just how good Rey Mysterio is. And you look at him now being damn near 50, still putting out some of the matches he's having. I mean, the dude is a marvel. He is incredible what he's still doing at his age. But if I have to pick one that stands out as my favorite, honest to God, for me, it's probably his 2006 run. I mean, granted, I get it, with the with Eddie, with Eddie and all that stuff, Eddie Guerrero passing away, but that 2006 run, really, that first half of 2006, like he set a record at the time, being the longest participant in the Royal Rumble in the history of the match. I think it was like an hour, 6 minutes, 31 seconds, or something like that. Wins it. Final two is him and Triple H. No, final three was him, Triple H, and Randy Orton. He eliminates Triple H and Randy Orton to win the Royal Rumble match. And then the No Way Out, where Randy Orton gets his win to to kind of, to insert himself in it. And then a triple threat at WrestleMania 22 with Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, and Kurt Angle. And he wins the World Heavyweight Championship. You can say people can say all they want to, like it was a charity thing because of Eddie Guerrero and all that other stuff. But for me, that run stands out for me because it showed that anybody can be successful as far as the wrestling game. Like it doesn't just have to be cruiserweights going up against the cruiserweights and thus forth. Rey Mysterio showed you that he could beat bigger dudes, and he kind of made that mark as being the biggest little man in WWE. I mean, he earned that moniker. And he continued to just go out and show it and show it and show it. If I had to pick one run for me, it's that run from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania where he became World Heavyweight Champion. But I tell you what though, man, some of the matches and some of the rivalries that he's had, Chris Jericho, CM Punk, Eddie Guerrero, like it's just some of the greatest matches you'll ever see. Halloween Havoc 1997. If y'all ain't seen that match with him and Eddie, y'all need to go put that on repeat. Put it on repeat. That is one that I'm talking about. That's one of those ahead of its time matches. You could run that match move for move in this era, and it would tear the house down. That's how good that match was. Eddie Guerrero, God rest his soul, and Rey Mysterio just all they did was have banger matches. That's all they did. But I would say the 2006 run stand out. But man, Rey Mysterio's had so many goddamn good matches, man. It's just hard to choose.
Champ.
I'm going to piggyback on what he said about Halloween Havoc. That was my favorite moment because the thing is that stole the show, and that was the third match on the card. And if you would allow me to, here was the card. Now, this was the card after they went on. After that, it was Alex Wright versus Steve McMichael. And then, shortly after that, it was Kurt Hennig versus Ric Flair. Then, Scott Hall versus Lex Luger. Larry Zbyszko was the special guest referee. A sudden death match between Randy Savage and DDP, which was named Rivalry of the Year that year in wrestling. And then after that, it was a steel cage match between Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan. And out of every last one of those matches with all of those big names, they stole the show on that. He's on the cover of that Halloween Havoc, on that Halloween Havoc video, for those of you who still remember videos, DVDs. He's on the cover on that for a reason. Rey Mysterio. That was a classic match. Man, look, while we speaking on rivalries, let's not forget the classic battles that he used to have with one of the most underrated wrestlers, arguably in history, in Cruiserweight. Let's not forget some of those battles he had with Juventud Guerrero.
Don't forget Chavo Guerrero.
Yeah, and Chavo Guerrero. You know, the battles he had with Juventud Guerrero, I mean, that was Rey Mysterio was an underdog in his own right, man. You know, he proved to everybody you don't have to be 6'7", 6'8" in order to succeed. You can be great in your own right and still be smaller. And not to mention, man, look, if you notice a pattern with all of these young men, as far as Rey Mysterio, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, you know, the late, you know, a late great wrestler, but we can't say his name. All of these guys were underutilized in WCW. They didn't know how to use them. Yet Vince, regardless of what you may think, used these guys and got them to the pinnacle. And you can name the name. They stole the show at Halloween Havoc 97 with that stacked card that they had with Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan having a steel cage match at the end. And that pay-per-view had 1.1 million buys. And he's on the cover of that for a reason. Man, I can't fathom to say how special Rey Mysterio was, man. Rey Mysterio was one special wrestler. He still is, man. And the fact that he gave us not only one gift, which was his career, he turned right back around and gave us a second gift with his son,
Dominique.
Yes, because whereas he was the
Do you remember the SummerSlam match, champ, between him and Eddie Guerrero?
Yes. He turned right back around and gave up the best guy of probably one of the most specialist baby faces of all time, turned right back around and said, okay, I'm never gonna be a heel. I'm gonna turn right back around and give you one in the form of my son. And so it's that's special, man. You know, that's special.
Yeah, I gave you the moment, him versus Eddie, that match is SummerSlam, fighting for the custody for Dominique. That was the promos that led to it. Another great Rey Mysterio moment, and I told this to Champ. Remember when he 619 Big Show? Big Show landed flat on his ass to the point in which Big Show got furious.
Yeah. I remember that.
What the hell?
Oh boy.
I'm gonna continue with them pipe bombs, but Rey Mysterio, yeah, I mean, to your point, champ, he was like 5'5", 5'6", 160 something pounds, and to prove that he could be a top guy, that says a lot about him. And his days in ECW too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget that. Let's not forget them good days in ECW. But him and Eddie, their legendary matches, and him and Dominique, that's for sure. And fellas, last conversation before we wrap up the show, because y'all from Georgia, favorite Future track?
Favorite Future song. Gosh, Champ. I'm gonna let you go first, Champ.
Okay. I'm going to the moon. Going to the moon, man. That was one. That was a blank banger, man. Especially back in the heyday. The only thing that song really used to have the club rocking. This was back when clubs still had the dance floor, by the way, for some of you youngers looking. But this was back when the club still had the dance floor. I remember us singing that song and the whole place was rocking, literally. Commas, that was a good one. I mean, Future, for all of his antics and trolling antics, is one of the I'm gonna just be real. If you want to have a catalog full of some bangers, look no further than Future. Regardless of what you may think about it. Because when you think about a lot of the mixtape, even, Ain't No Way Around It, which was one of his earlier songs,
Oh, I love that. Yes, sir.
Ain't no way around it.
So, I mean, even when you think about Ain't No
Remember
Way Around
YT
It,
racks on racks on racks?
yeah, racks on racks on racks. Think about, he just brought out a new album. I mean, and that's a banger. I mean, when you really want to, Future is one of those artists you can put his whole catalog on at the club, and the club would never stop rocking. And there's another song. I think it's called "Go Hard." I think this it kind of like explains a lesson how never stop achieving everything. That was one of those songs that shout out to the great Justin Ross from the Kansas City Chiefs from the Phoenix City, Columbus, Georgia, Tri-City area. I saw that on his page one day. I immediately went to go see it, and that song "Go Hard" is a banger as well. So Ain't No Way Around It, Going to the Moon, Commas, Go Hard. Man, Future. And I'm not gonna lie, man. There's a particular song that I like with a particular verse in it.
About Russell Wilson?
Yes, I actually like that song. I don't like the way he dissed Russ. I don't like the way he dissed Russ, but I actually like the song.
You know he was gonna diss Russ.
So I didn't like the fact that he dissed Russ, man, because Russ,
Russ stole his woman.
Hey man, but I mean, that's a whole other story for another day. But I mean, regardless of that song, regardless of that verse, I still found myself when I started back working out, I was like, I was still rocking to the song, man. That was a pretty good song, man. I mean, damn good song. Say what you want to about him, but he has, if you really look at trolling, him and 50 Cent kind of on that level when it comes to trolling. So when it comes to trolling,
Who's the better troller?
50 by 50. far, by far. Hey, 50 one of them
diabolical.
50 one of them dudes. He coming to the class roasted. You hide your face behind the book. So I'm just
let me tell you something. This is how diabolical 50 is. You remember when Ja Rule was getting ready to have a concert and 50 bought like a whole bang of tickets that way nobody would go to the Ja Rule concert? 50 Cent is diabolical.
BRF, what's your favorite Future track?
Oh gosh, I guess, man. Let me. For all intents and purposes, even though I don't know, yeah, for all of his trolling, for all of his antics, I mean, Future's a top 10 Atlanta rapper of all time. I mean, let's just keep it a bug. If you want to say he top 5, I won't argue with you. I don't think he top 5, but I definitely think he's a top 10 Atlanta rapper ever. You got Wicked, you got Honest, Turn on the Lights. I got two. I got one that wasn't real. I got one that wasn't really like a mainstream song like that, but it was good with us. Keep them squares up out your circle. If you've heard that song, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That is a banger. That is a banger. I love that song. And then the one that put him on the map. Checked up on my end. Tony Montana. Tony Montana. Tony Montana.
Montana.
That's the one that put him on the. Oh my god. That. Let me tell I can rock. I can. Let me tell you something. I can rock Tony Montana until. Oh my god, that is. I think that's like as many good songs as he's had. I think that's clear. I think that is by far my favorite Future track because it just everything just carried so perfect. He carried that song and the beat. It's one of the most underrated beats in the history of hip hop. Like Tony. Oh man, I love that song. Those are probably like my two favorite Future songs because honestly, I could probably rock a good easy 20, 25 songs of his. I mean, the dude's got that many good songs. But those two set it off for me. But Tony Montana, that's my number one. Gotta go Tony Montana.
100 Racks with
Yeah.
Drake and 2 Chains. That's when I'm on my Di Serrano or when I'm on my drink, I listen to 100 Racks. Wicked, I love Wicked. Fly Bleep Only. I love
Mhm.
Fly Bleep Only. Him and Drake changed locations. Diamonds Dancing. Love that track. There was the one with 35, although it's not his song, 3500 with Travis Scott.
Yeah.
But
This
Future
little
Man, known for trolling, man, known for troll. But I had to bring Future to the conversation, man, because of y'all Georgia boys. But
None of y'all
Future.
said mask off.
Oh yeah, man.
That's up there. Yeah, Mask Off is definitely. Oh, bro, there's so many guys doing good Future songs.
There's the one with Young Thug though, Drip on Me.
Yeah.
I love the one Drip on Me. Oh man, like another Future track, another Future
Don't
track.
move that dope.
Yeah,
To move that dope
the
and move
dope.
that dope and move that dope.
That's the one with Pharrell. Oh,
The one for
Petite.
real, yes.
Oh, I love
Underrated.
Petite with Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then
you ain't even know it.
don't get too comfortable. Don't get too comfortable.
Yeah. I know it ain't his song, but you ain't even know it.
Yeah.
So,
Never ever with Kelly Rowland.
yeah.
She fine. Fine. Great Kelly Rowland. But man, Future Man does it all. And by the way, folks, next week on the Sports PSP Pod, very underrated rapper from the West Coast that we will discuss our favorite track, The Game. So stay
Nice.
Ooh,
tuned.
good one.
Yes. But folks, that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. BRF, I'm gonna let you go first. I know you have something to say. Say it and tell them where to follow you at, man.
Yes, sir. Before I put my plug out there, I want to send prayers and condolences to the Roland slash Chapman family in my area. A fellow class of 2004 representative his name is Ferris Roland. Unexpectedly passed away to a heart attack over the weekend, and it was tragic and it was unexpected. He was like one of my closest brothers that I had coming out of that class of '04 class, because you know how it is when you graduate high school. Sometimes it's really hard to kind of keep track of people because everybody move on and they live their lives. But he was one of those I actually followed and kept up with, and I was able to talk to from time to time. And just following his Facebook and just looking at his life, I mean, he's one of the sharpest dressed brothers I've ever seen, and he had the mindset to go with it. And I admired him so much as a brother, as a friend, and helped me kind of put some fire back in me to want to accomplish and do great things. So I want to send my love out to his family. Ferris, it ain't gonna be the same without you, bro. Um, I know I know you looking at the brothers that are still here walking this earth. If you were gonna give him any advice, you tell us to keep pushing, keep that mindset. Don't let nothing stop you, no matter what you're doing. And it's not gonna be the same without you. But we got you down here. Shout out to everybody in the Madtown, Madison, Georgia area. Shout out to everybody here because I know Champ like to shout out his city, and rightfully so. I'm gonna do the same for my city, Madison, Georgia, and everybody down here. Y'all keep Ferris on your mind because he was a great brother. He did everything the right way. He went about his life the right way, and it's not gonna be the same without you, brother. But we gonna hold it down for you. And until we meet again, my brother, it was an honor knowing you. It was a pleasure calling you a friend, and you will be missed, my brother. BRL Sports, as always, is the TikTok handle. Follow me there. Follow me on all platforms. My lead tree is in the bio. It's like I always say though, a topic not thought about is a topic not talked about. But I just wanted to get that off my chest because he was really close to me and he was really close to a lot of people down here. So I just wanted to send all the love out there, prayers and condolences to his family. Life ain't gonna be the same without you, but I know you'd want us to keep going. So we love you and we got you, bro.
And before I let Champ go and say what he has to say, I think it's important that we should have a moment of silence real quick. Thank you. Champ, any final words, and tell them where to follow you at, man.
Always a privilege, pleasure, and an honor to share the stage with both of you guys. I admire both of you. Both of you are doing a darn good job of what you're doing. I'm very, very happy for both of you. And as a brother, I'm damn proud of both of you. Both of you have expanded. Both of you are legitimate businessmen. And y'all are succeeding. And y'all are positive men. And I'm happy to share a room. I'm happy to share everything with you two gentlemen. So I must say that. Other than that, hey, always good to be on the Highlight of Friday nights. Always good to be on the Highlight of Friday nights, man. This is the highlight of the week. One of the biggest highlights of the week, man. Every Friday, I know I got the show to go to, man. You know. Big highlight, man. I'm smiling when I say that because it's true. But it's always good. TikTok, we're up to 18.4K, almost 2 million likes right now.
Congratulations.
There. Thank God for everything. Undisputed GOAT podcast. We will be re-airing more than likely tomorrow. Right as the end of college football is happening. Thank you, PSP, for giving us the platform in order to do what we do, and being an inspiration to all of us to venture out and expand. As everybody knows, like I said, there was a point that I wasn't going to start my podcast, but PSP was adamant about it. Hey, chat when the show's coming. And we ended up doing it, and the rest is history. So thank you, PSP, and thank you, BRF, for a bit, because the first three people I called was PSP, BRF, and Flash. Not necessarily in that order, but I called each and every last one of you guys the minute when I said, okay, we're going to do the show. And God bless every last one of you. You answered the call, and, although PSP may not be on there every single week in person talking, he's in the comments, and a lot of the topics that we're talking about is stuff that he's given us ideas in the comments about. And if you watch the show, you will know that. And that just goes to show everyone that just because a person is not present, on screen, that does not discount the work they're doing behind the scenes. Because every week, it's another good topic outside of the topics that myself and BRF and Flash write. That's PSP in the comments giving us some giving us some ideas as the show's going. So pay attention to not only the people that are in front of the camera, but are behind the camera as well. So big ups to you, PSP, man. Thank you for everything, man.
As always, guys, it's always a pleasure having y'all on the pod. Because of y'all, we're over 23,000 on the Sports PSP pod, and we're going to continue to do great things, man. I promise. Shout out to one of my girls who commented. I want to give shout outs to her. Her name is Candace Williams. Go check her out from time to time. She makes appearances on the Sports for You podcast with John Watson and the crew. Make sure you like and subscribe to their pod. And Candace and I, we're gonna try to do some things for the a little pod on Sunday regarding some of the games and stuff. So if y'all are interested, let me know if y'all want to hop on. But fellas, always a pleasure having y'all on the pod. Shout out to the other great content creators, Casual, Brendan from the Block Podcast, Harrison, Broad, Roundup, Chris, Hot Take Kenny, our guy Kieran. Thank you, Kieran, for taking the time to hop on the pod, man. And shout out to everyone. Shout out to Mama PSP. Shout out to my friends from work, Maddie, Kaylin. Shout out to a lot of people who do a lot of support behind the scenes with the Sports PSP pod. And shout out to my great professor, Jennifer Lazarus. Like I said, she gave me the advice on content creation, social media, and stuff like that, and also in life. And shout out to a lot of great people. Angie, Dulce, everybody. And y'all know where to follow me at, folks. Sports PSP podcast. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as IG, as well as TikTok Sports PSP3. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. Y'all stay safe. And listen, election day, November 5th. I don't care who y'all vote for. Vote. Make sure your voices is heard. Make sure you exercise your right to vote, man. And don't take it for granted. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening, and peace.